How's it hanging, guys? And welcome back to another edition of Late Night TCG here on the North American side. I'm tilting my camera down because I look significantly shorter than I actually am. My name is TSS Koopa. I am joined by my good friend here, Mr. Henry Ubel Praza. Hey, bud. How you doing?
Feeling good, feeling good. Getting into the Pokemon swing of things. New set. Don't think it'll change all that much, but hey, new cards to experiment with, including a very friendly plant, and we'll
Yeah.
get to see at least some of them. See what techs people are playing, see what decks people are rocking with to try and mess with the new format or the same old stuff. Because I do see we have a Snorlax stall player in Top Cuts.
Yeah, and we'll get there in a second. We're actually going to jump into our one stream match right now. I'm going to send you the guy's Twitch link, Henry, because he's
Oh,
streaming on Twitch right now.
excellent.
So as I do that, in case you guys haven't been paying attention, what's it called? That should have loaded. I don't know if that loaded or not. Try it again. All right, hold on. I'll send it to you another chat. Anyway, so prismatic evolutions is legal. Pay no mind to what's going on here. Hold on. Gotta get back to staff chat. Hold on. All right, just go
Do you want,
to.
do you want
Hold
me to
on.
just tell? Yeah, like Twitch.tv slash.
Yeah, just go to Poke Drunks 2502. There we go.
Poke what?
Poke
Yeah,
Drunks 2502 on Twitch.
2502. Okay.
That's gonna be our that's Punchin 1804 who's gonna be streaming for us. So hang tight for 2 seconds, guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring up the gameplay screen. Okay, and then we'll bring this up, and then I'll bring up. No, that's us still, and then we'll bring up gameplay, and then I gotta do this. We're doing things on the fly here, folks. Woo!
Yeah, figuring out, letting it rock,
And
shaken, not
Twitch.
stirred.
There we go. All right, we got there. All right. So, uh, Punchin 1804 is going to be our streamer for this round here. And as you can see, Badoo is already making their presence known early. The best and most playable card out of this new set here in Prismatic Evolutions. Badoo has the Itchy Pollen attack, which does 10 damage, and you cannot play items from your hand on your next turn. So this is completely warped how decks are going to have to play. We're going to see them pairing Badoo here in the probably one of the best archetypes that can handle this new item. It probably the benefits one of the most one of the best with Badoo is Dragapult with Dusknoir. Going up against a deck in Lugia V Star. And Lugia's might be in pretty decent polling position in this meta, but I'll get into that in a bit. So yeah, Henry, we got a lot of dragons on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like every copy of Dreepy and Dracloak just in the deck, just currently on the bench. And then you can kind of sit on the Badoo and shut down any sort of item play to get things started. We are going to be using the ability of the Dracoloak, which, the Recon Directive looks at the top two cards of the deck and adds one of them to hand, a nice little scry for any Magic the Gathering fans.
Yeah, I think this is you're gonna see why decks like Dragapult and why decks like Gardevoir are actually gonna perform very well, both against Badoo and with Badoo. It gives decks that usually would only do like TM evolution on their first turn going second. It gives them another wrinkle if you want to maybe try to slow your opponent down a bit. Sometimes having that extra turn to get yourself to evolve is huge. And both those decks also have stage one draw engines. So, that 2 card draw might not seem like a lot with Recon Directive, but when you got 4 guys set up, it makes a huge difference. And
Yeah.
we're also going to hit head on the Mezzagoza, much to the chagrin of the other player's avatar.
Not to mention the whole point of having these type of like stage one or not even stage one, these like basic stalling type mons. I can think of like Cleffa as another similar type of wrinkle. Of course, less stun effect, but more of a stun attack rather, and more of
Yeah.
a just turbo through the deck and like sit there as a free retreat and if you need something just to chump block a hit. That lets you get an extra turn on any of your draw effects, any of your abilities, any of your tools. So Greninja gets to then do his thing twice, do concealed cards twice.
Yep.
Dracloak gets to do all of these recon directives twice, 3 times. It's like that is an exponential amount of growth that you're getting on just seeing cards from your deck, on top of getting the supporters and all of those extra cards. If you're just able to, and then on top of Badoo having a kind of shutdown effect, if you're able to slow down the opponent even a little bit, what are you going to see? Like 10 cards every turn? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
And you're
insanity.
Yep, and you're already seeing what Badoo does best. That's 2 turns in a row where on the other side here, Camellia is the person's name in Limitless. They are kind of spinning their wheels here, and Lugia is one of those decks that doesn't necessarily suffer like the worst under item lock. Lugia never gets to play with items even when it has access to them anyway, because just the nature of this deck is incredibly volatile sometimes. But we're seeing here, when you're as set up as you can possibly be, and those 2 turns of item lock. Now we have a fully evolved Dragapult with the sparkling crystal A-Spec attached. That's going to lower the attack cost of Dragapult's Phantom Dive by 1 energy. So only going to be able to do 200 damage with a singular fire energy, and 200 damage is exactly going to be enough to knock out that Lugia V, and you're also going to be able to get to full spread damage here too, because there's no mist energies attached on the bench. So looks like we could, or it looks like we could either maybe continue spinning the wheels, but no, it looks like Punchin's probably going to start going on the offensive here. We're going to get that Phantom Dive off and take the first 2 prize cards.
Plus plenty of extra damage to play into later turns, or just take out the. Oh no, it's 70 damage to any Pokemon spread out amongst Pokemon on the bench. So setting up for later turns as well. I'm surprised he didn't do 20 to the Lugia instead only doing 10. But I mean, he's doing a different set of math here, wanting to make sure the Chinchino is properly damaged for even Pokemon not named Dragapult to take the KO.
All right, we're going to miss the heads on the Messagoza. We're going to have to flip heads on the Catching Aroma again. Okay, we hit tails. I'm not sure if that is what Camellia wanted. And we're going to see the next newest addition in this Prismatic Evolution set, and that is going to be the Regigigas. Regigigas has the attack Jewel Breaker, which does 100 damage base, and if your opponent's active Pokemon that you're attacking into is a Terra Pokemon, it does an extra 230 damage. So, quite the multiplier, but it basically is another answer for Lugia into knocking out these sometimes harder to hit Terra Pokemon, specifically, in this case, Dragapult.
Hitting for 330. Just for 4 energy, but Lugia always never really minded turboing out energy since you play a lot of double turbo energies to begin with.
Yeah.
So, seeing a lot of value in any of these normal Pokemon that you can have access to as we get to the Lugia V-Star, not stunned under the item lock, so all of those dead draws of Pokeball and Nest Ball and Ultra Ball can come to play as both Archeops hit the bench.
Yep, but now we're going to start doing Primal Turbo. Curious how much energy you might have had to ditch here in the process of getting to this this match. We're playing 16 energies here. So obviously that resource could be very finite. It's going to take 5 energies attached, knock out the Dragapult, 4 from the double, 2 from each Archeops, plus 1 from your hand if one already wasn't attached. And with a 5-card hand, I would assume, there we go. There's the Mist Energy for the final attach. So we are going to be able to get a return KO here, despite being under item lock for a few turns. And now the ball's back in Punchin's court, and this isn't necessarily like a
No, it will be the Radiant Alakazam. That Pheasantipity, though, is kind of looking you in the face. And like, oh, a Pokemon was just knocked out. Let me bench this and draw 3 cards. But with only 1 space on the bench left to utilize, you got to be a little bit more frugal in exactly what you're playing.
Yeah.
This is where sequencing can really can really mess you up just as much as it can help you.
Yeah, you still need a bit of work to be done here. Obviously, having the energy down on a Dracloak already makes things a little bit easier. You just need to make sure you hit those attaches for a turn, and Punchin has a massive hand right now, so they're gonna be they're gonna be able to draw out to a decent amount of their deck, but not getting the fire energy, nor I don't believe they have it in hand yet.
They do
No,
have the Earthen Vessel.
is the vessel in hand? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it's a third card from the right.
Oh no, that's Buddy Poffin.
And the one before that.
There he goes. There, now we got it. We got there at some point. All with these gold cards just kind of blend together, so it's like kind of hard to get. Yeah,
bro blinged out his deck, and it's like I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, this deck costs the same amount as an 04 Honda Civic, so do with that information as you may.
Running out of energies in deck, that fire energy was the last one.
Yeah, so I'm curious if we maybe pitched a couple, or if maybe 2 might be prized. Dragapult only plays 6 energy cards, so I'm not super surprised to see that there. But I believe this list plays at least a Night Stretcher, and they're probably let's see how many they're playing. They're playing 1 Night Stretcher, so being able to get those energy. Okay, so 2 in the discard, 1 in the hand. You have the way to get the Ultra Ball, but okay, nope, not even going to use the Ultra Ball. Just going to use the Night Stretcher to get back that Dragapult. And because of the way that the board was set up earlier, Henry, we did not get to see the Dustnor part of this deck. That makes this engine even scarier. This is an archetype of this deck that's existed for a while, but now that you have Badoo to kind of slow your opponent's roll for a few turns, it makes getting it makes being able to set up the big plays with Dustnor to take multiple prize turns much easier. But looks like we could just be looking at a Badoo angle here, truthfully.
Yeah, and I don't hate it, right? Like the way that you can orchestrate this turn, not choosing not to in this case, as the switch in for the Dragapult comes in, going for the Phantom Dive. But the way that the Dust Noir and the Dragapult synergize so well is like you're able to scatter damage counters just so fluidly and so reliably to Pokemon that are on the bench, with both the Dragapult and the Dust Noir having that sense of like damage control synergy. You can set up for 2 or 3 prize turns over the course of a longer game, and then Badoo is just able to slot right in as a little bit of a control element.
All right, but not going to be the case there. Simply just going to set up the Dragapult and punch, and we got probably one of the best cards in this matchup off the prize cards. We just got hit with an advertisement, so.
Yeah, I think I might be a little ahead of you, too.
You might be.
Yeah. All the same, with the current hand count and the current prize count, I would be shocked if Souza, good old the fool here, is going to try and set up for like an Iono line. Because this is just way too much cards in the hand. Like you can kind of just assume they might be able to set up game on board on the next turn, or at the very least in a couple turns if you don't provide some amount of hand control. The Primal Turbo is going to launch, though, from this Archeops in order to set up the Regigigas, who is looking mighty primed to deal out this 330 and take a KO again on this Dragapult. Be 1 Dragapult KO away, or a boss's orders on the Pheasantipity as well. Pair of options. Luminion, playing 2 Luminion?
Yep, that's a pretty common Lugia thing. Because the thing about Lugia that hasn't changed is that once this deck gets sets up, as long as you have access to all your attackers to sequence them together properly, this deck plays 4 bosses orders. So all you need to at some point you're gonna either draw into them or you're gonna have access to the Luminion to try to fish them out of the deck, no pun intended. And then you can just kind of start picking apart your opponent's bench sitters. In a matchup like this, is a little bit harder, but the good part about the Regigigas in his deck now is that it kind of forces your opponent to have to deal with that or the Chinchino. You now have a little bit more flexibility in how you want to set this thing up. And both are detrimental to the equation. So
Massively so. The Iono line did come in order to restrict the amount of cards in hand, but one thing I didn't account for in just doing a little bit of math was the double turbo energies 20 less damage. That takes it from a one-hit knockout on the Dragapult to just 10 damage left. And with no other lines after the Iono, it seems like we're just sitting on 10 health for this Dragapult, and that means free range to scatter some more damage counters and take out this Regigigas on this turn. No need to overcomplicate things when you're this far ahead on the prize math.
yeah, and now this is where things can get a little bit awkward here. I'm curious if Camellia didn't have like enough energy in the deck to avoid attaching the double turbo there, because now you've lost two of your big attackers. Now, granted, because that legacy energy was attached, it does prevent Punchin from taking the prize card here. So you're able to punch him for big damage. So now you're going to be able to hopefully retaliate, have enough energy left in the deck to attack with this Lugia. But you got 7 cards in your hand. Now 10 cards left in the deck. I don't know if there's going to be enough energy left here. All right, but we did hit. Oh, okay. We could be going for one of these angles.
Man, Messagosa is just really one of those stadiums that just like, yeah, I can hang out. We'll just flip a coin every turn on both sides.
Yeah, just a chill stadium card for both teams. That being said, though, there's 12 energies in a discard pile right now. So
of 16 total.
Of 16, so there's only 4 energies left in the deck, and it looks like okay. We could be potentially setting up for maybe a saw block angle here with the Ogerpon hitting the bench. But I think, yeah, because you only take 2 per. You don't lose the game on this turn if you're Camellia. So we could find ourselves in a scenario where you go, but they're going to have to Iono them, which is also dangerous. So.
Yeah, and with all these Dracloaks just like consistently able to say like I will look through 4 cards on the top of my deck and pick the 2 best ones each turn, hitting with an Iono isn't too devastating unless you're able to get like boss orders one of them up in order to get rid of them. But we're kind of too late in the game for you to be prioritizing their engine.
Yeah, I think you see that preemptive. You see that preemptive attach of the gift energy to the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX, probably for that reason, because it looks like this Lugia V-Star is just going to be victim here, but I don't really think it matters. I think this is pretty in the bag here, because unless, again, it has to be comboed off of an Iono to 1. We're going to see but burning the switch here could be kind of dangerous. No, okay, we're just going to go into the Badu. So
Am I looking at the wrong deck list? I don't see Wellspring Mask Ogerpon in their list.
It should be there. Hold on, let's see. No, it's in there.
Am I looking at the wrong match then? What match are we looking at?
Camellia? It's Punchin. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, well, I was looking at the wrong one. We have another matchup that is the Dragapult Dust Noir up against Lugia in top 16.
Oh, and the opponent just conceded. Okay, there we go. Game 1 going to Punchin. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like I said, the 2 biggest decks that get buffs with this within this small block of the game we're gonna be playing in for a bit are decks like Dragapult that obviously have those stage 1 draw engines. Decks like Gardevoir also benefit in the same way. But also decks like Lugia, who, like I said earlier, doesn't really care if he gets to play with items or not. So, I think this, while Badu is not like meta breaking or anything of that ilk, but the deck, it's certainly going to force certain decks to have to play differently. And we're seeing that Badu is Very, very effective here against a deck like Lugia that wants to go first. It's like, okay, I'm just going to set up this, tiny little flower bud, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, and in the early turns, like just buying yourself a couple turns is all you really need. Just consider how many good item cards there are all over the format. Stuff that all over just in general, like Pokemon is so built on having your earthen vessels, your switch cards, your counter catchers, your ultra balls, nest balls, rare candies, buddy poffins. Like these are powerful cards. Night stretchers for recovery, the super rods for recovery. Like these are integral parts of the game. And Badu at any point can just say, nope, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. It really puts into focus just how strong item lock is. And that's just like, there's been other decks and cards that have done item lock in the past. I think back to an old Vikavolt V card that saw some play, a couple of years ago, which had a very similar attack. You do 30 damage and your opponent can't play items. But Badu is just so splashable. I love how they've handled the baby Pokemon since the Scarlet and Violet era started. 30 HP, free retreat, an attack that is for free. And in Badu's case, it's incredibly broken. And when you look at that, look who just happens to be in the starting hand.
Yeah, it's so splashable that you can kind of consider like most decks might run one of it, but at this point, like you could see a lot of lists running 2 or 3 and just trying to see it in your opening hand.
Bud. All right. Calm down, Bud. Save some for the rest of us.
Oh, man.
I've dreamt of starts like that.
Lugia start, Ultra Ball pitch to Archeops feels pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pure unadulterated adrenaline right to the brain. You know how you play around item lock? Use your items in the first turn, and you don't need them for the rest of the game. So
just win the coin toss, like duh.
Yeah,
go first.
Forehead. Now the only out to again accomplishing that part of it is the hard part. Finding your Lugia V-Stars or way to get it is obviously going to be a little bit easier. And we do have the Temple of Sinnoh in the deck that can be a important tech card later in the game. Turns all special energy into colorless energies. So it will turn off the effects of Gift to prevent Lugia from drawing cards, but also turns off Mist energy. So Dragapult will be able to damage the bench. And now we're going to see the Buddy Poffin hit the deck here. Knowing that the Wellspring Mask is in the deck, you're going to see Punchin protect against that with the Manaphy. We still have the Arven in the hand to maybe get TM Evolution to kind of get everybody off the ground here, but Item Lock could just be a little bit better. No, okay, looks like we're grabbing the Technical Machine Evolution. Again, Lugia is already... Item Lock doesn't really help you in this point because there's no hand disruption, and you know that the Lugia V-Star's in the hand, so all you can do at this point is just kind of better set yourself up for success here.
Yeah, and I mean, he certainly did that with the TM Evolution and a Duskull, as well as multiple Dreepies on the bench. The Dragapult already in hand. We're just gonna pick out 2 to evolve, choosing just 2 Dracloaks. Keep the engine online. Makes a ton of sense. You don't need to rush too hard into outputting damage up against Lugia, since most of its Pokemon are pretty damn large. 220s, the 280 on the Lugia V-Star, which was telegraphed in hand because the Ultra Ball searched out Iron Hands and not the said Lugia V-Star. Gonna slam it down, get the Archeops on the bench, attach for turn the Jet Energy to get that Iron Hands in, and Archeops seems to be loading up said Iron Hands to get 2 prize cards off of this Badu.
Yep, the Legacy Energy in the deck. When you saw the Iron Hands hit the bench prior, you kind of assumed that Camellia had a way to get that guy into the active in a situation like this, where you're going to be able to take a free 2 prize cards with the Ampy very much. But the only downside is they're not having gift. Okay, looks like we're gonna go for one of the Dracloaks, smartly so. Also
Reasonable
curious. Also curious why we attach an. Oh, you had to attach energy to do the team evolution. Duh, that makes a lot of sense. But here we go. Just gonna play the hand down as far as I can and amp you very much for 2 big ones on that Dracloak.
I really like Iron Hands.
He's
Just
a cool. He's a chill guy.
Yeah, both as a card, I think it's really uniquely designed and is both splashable and you can build around it. And then also, just like big dude, big hands. He's a big walking robot. I also like Hariyama, and then you like Robo version. This guy's cool.
What if we made Hariyama a robot?
It's like, just give that guy a raise.
Now, kind of an awkward spot to be in here if you're Punchin. The recon directive did not give you anything to write home about, so now you're in this situation where you have to retaliate a KO here, or at least get the pressure going. With the Dragapult. But unfortunately, only having 1 energy attached, no way to get the Sparking Crystal out. But instead, we're just going to retreat out, and it looks like we're just going to do punch with Jet Headbutt for 70. Yeah, we're going to boss up an Archeops, just kind of get some damage on board. And there we go. It looks like it's just going to be a 70 damage Jet Headbutt. So 3-card hand. Here on the other side with Lugia and an Archeops in the active, are we going to be able to move this guy and possibly find a way to take another 2 prize cards?
Yeah, this is a rough one. I mean, with the Primal Turbos, they can attach to...
Okay, looks like... All right, yep, we're just going to attach from hand. Retreat. It looks like the angle is just to kind of punch with Lugia V-Star. Yep. So both players with less than ideal hands right now. Only a 1-card hand on the other side. Oh, but...
Wow.
Oh, dog.
That is a life-saving draw. I mean, just sitting on a Dust Noir, like, you're just prime pickings. Top decking Iono in that position literally saves you the game. Doesn't win it for you, but it puts you right back into it.
But still no way to get a Psychic Energy, Henry. We saw 7 cards and no out to a Psychic. We have a Rare Candy, a Rescue board, and being unable to take this this KO on Lugia here is going to be detrimental. So we're just going to try to protect house, promote the Badoo, and go for the Itchy Pollen. Maybe try to slow him down a bit. There will be no Ultra Balling or capturing aromas for a potential boss's orders on one of these small guys. But instead, we do have the Mezagoza. And it hits.
Ooh, that's any Pokemon from the deck. You can get lock in your Regigigas to start instantly threatening any attacker, or you search your deck. Mesagosa can also add any supporter from your deck to your hand by flipping heads. And that's exactly what it's going to do. Searching out the Lumineon.
And it's going to be a 3
searches boss.
And it's going to be a 3 prize card turn. Yeah, we're going to boss up the Dragapult. Iron Hands with the double turbo is doing 100 damage exactly to bring us to 320, and that's going to be an amp you very much for 3 prize cards, Henry.
And the gift energy to attach for turn, amp you very much. What a solid line, and 3 prizes off that Dragapult.
Yeah, Iron Hands EX is taking 5 prize cards in this game here for Candelaria.
Insult to injury. Draws the Psychic Energy for turn.
Roblox oof.
Yeah, that's tough. Tails on the mess it goes. Had the Rare Candy too, so if he was able to hit heads on that, also has the Dragapult, but now with no Fire Energy this time, you attach for turn. And Iono, I guess, just play it out. I'm not sure what exactly your outs are with 1 prize card left. Countercatcher, Temple of Sinnoh's not bad.
Yeah, but the hard part is with Temple of Sinnoh is that you kind of need to combo that off. I mean, you can combo it off of an Iono. The problem is you're just missing a way to attack with Phantom Dive. Then that would have really put a hamper here on Candelaria, but no out to a Sparkling Crystal, and unfortunately missing that draw earlier. Instead, we're going to use Painful Spoons, moves up the 2 damage counters off of one of your opponent's Pokemon to another. We're going to counter catcher up the Archeops, put the Temple of Sinnoh into play, and I believe 70 damage is enough to get a KO on a Chops here, if I'm correct.
It is, but do you even want to take the KO and then move back in the Lugia V-Star to deal 220 to you?
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. I think attacking isn't bad. Just because you're taking away a crucial part of the engine, and unless Lugia hits, top decks the boss, I don't see anything, bad happening here. You got a 1-card hand, no gift energy was procced, so we're gonna have to fight our way out of this one the old-fashioned way.
Yep, this 1 card and 1 Archeops to attach 2 energies.
Oh,
Professor's Research.
All right, cool. Why not?
Oh.
But Professor's Research means no boss's orders this turn, so.
Yeah, and the damage output, you have 1 more turn. Like, dealing 320 is not something Lugia typically reaches just in 1 turn. Unless you have, like, a Minccino already set up, which is not the case, as the Chinchino, as the Minccino has currently been placed on the bench. Lugia V-Star deals 220, gets rid of the Temple of Sinnoh.
All right, now we're in this awkward scenario here where we're going to go for the Arven and grab that Sparkling Crystal. Again, a spec that has its best home here in Dragapult. Going to attach that to the active Dragapult to use that Phantom Dive for 1 energy less. But again, we're going to have to combo this into something here. It doesn't matter what you knock out, like we mentioned, Henry. You're in a scenario where you just, are going to have to come face to face with something that can knock you out at some point.
Yeah, the counter catcher means you can go after the non-setup Lugia, bring that in since you can't take a knockout this turn and start chipping away at it. Or you can choose to go after the Iron Hands or go after the Archeops, 200 damage. Most of the energy... There's 3 in the discard, and then 3 on the Iron Hands, 4 on the Lugia. So that's already 6. Double Turbo is going to be enough to retreat into the Lugia V-Star, and that is just game. Had the energy in hand thanks to the Professor's Research. And Punchin just seemed to have every single out. Camellia just seemed to have every single out, no matter what type of disruption was thrown his way after a very slow start from Camellia. And that seals the 2-0, or the 2-1.
I know, we're at 1-1 now, so.
Oh, why did I think that was the end of the game?
No,
we're 1-1. We're close. We're going into game 3.
Getting close. I'm going to go grab a water real quick. I'll be right back, Henry.
Yeah, for sure. Get to see him consider. That's a rough game, though. Like, when he just feels like, oh, man, your opponent just had every out. Just had every right card for your option. I mean, I owned to 1 and brought in a Pokemon that was not able to attack and then researched for 7. Like, that's... What do you do? What do you do about that? You just go next. That's what you do. But you're still in this. Still very, very much in this. Keep in mind, a lot of other matches in the top 16 are going to game 3s or in game 2s. We had 2 matches complete with Gabriel's Hotel and the Kui currently playing out their top 8 set. Huntymon as well, waiting on the wings. As Duskull is the starting Pokemon here for Pokedrunk, and Fluttermane on the side of Camellia. Fluttermane having the Midnight Fluttering, so active Pokemon can have no abilities, which doesn't have too much of a detrimental effect. You try to keep the Dracloaks on the bench anyways. Letting Camellia go first, rather. Certainly you want to get the first evolution, hence why you're going second here. Full Dragapult line in hand and full supporter, so very glad you are going second. Hello. Welcome back. Our good friend Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough opener here on both sides, really. As you can see, the end of the turn just sitting on a Flutter Mane. And of course, as a stage 2 type of deck, you're not really attacking on the first turn.
But you know what makes it harder to attack on your next turn, Henry? No Lugia.
No Lugia. Yeah, I mean, you're dead in the water. Silver Lining. You're probably not losing because you have no Pokemon on your bench. However, you've done no setup either.
No, the vibes are off. Suddenly everything feels really bad.
Yes.
Sometimes you just have those, they're affectionately called, and by affectionately I mean to the demise of my, mental health. They call them Lugia hands, where you just like,
that's tough.
Yeah, just bad vibes all around. So unfortunate spot there if you're a Camellia. And now let's do the time warp again. You know what stinks when you have no setup on board? Item lock, baby.
Yeah. And in 9 turns, you win the game.
It's true. You will begin to cough in 3 days.
Distance, or the solitary swordsman from a distant land. In 5 turns, your monster will be destroyed. It's like cheers.
All right. And we're going to hit tails on Mesagoza because sure, why not?
Mesagoza just reads, like, flip a coin, do nothing. Like,
yeah, honestly, that's what it feels like sometimes. You're not too far off with that one.
All right, the research hopefully can fix the hand. There was an Archeops and a Cinccino in the discard, but so is the Legacy energy. And
Legacy being in the discard is not great, but unfortunately but we're able to get a knockout with the Hex Hurl. So, but still, no Lugia.
We're not doing anything.
But at what cost? Literally, all he needs is a rare candy, and he wins the game.
I mean, yeah, right? And you can look for it right now because you have 2 Dreepies online. You get to see, like, maybe it was better to save the Mesagoza, right? Because you hit the heads here and get what? You almost have everything.
Well, I think you get another Dracloak to give yourself an extra draw. Oh, but there's no... Oh, okay, no, the Duststorm's in the hand already. I was bugging out.
Oh, but you can Pheasantipity. Well,
true.
The line I was thinking, like, maybe you save it so you can go Iono for 6 and try and fetch as much as possible to get a rare candy, just to hunt for a rare candy. But this line also works a lot better. It's more consistent overall, though you do lack any sort of immediate win this right now turn, because there's no way to get the any sort of damage immediately on board, whether it be with the Duskull or with the Dusknoir. No rare candies, no nothing. Instead, we're playing the Crispin in order to get all of our energies and put them in the hand.
Yeah, Crispin accelerates 1 energy to your hand and another one from the deck. Oh, but I think we're going to go the angle of attacking with Alakazam here, because I think the math on that move is correct. I forget how that attack works. It's like it's a multiplier for how much energy is in play.
It's 20 for each card in your opponent's hand.
Oh!
Which means they need at least 5. They have 8.
Get donked. Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah, sorry, Lugia. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, sometimes trying to get out under item lock when you're depending on coin flips. It ain't great. I'm just gonna keep it a stack. Not fun, but that'll do it. The Radzam will punch it through for Punchin. So good stuff to them. Let's send it back to us for a bit, Henry, while we dissect what just happened.
Yeah, comedy.
All right, and we'll be back to us in a second. I just gotta hold on. Window capture. There we go. We're doing everything on the fly, and there we are. We're back. Hi guys, it's us again. So we just got our first taste of what Badoo is going to do to the water supply, Henry.
Can infect it. Put everything. Put sugar in the water. Make everyone unable to sleep.
It's pretty good. It's listen, we've seen how. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, we've seen. Listen, item lock has always been traditionally very good in the Pokemon TCG. When it's been able to get off the ground. Turns out a lot of really good decks, need these really good item cards to get off the ground. And, again, we saw that Lugia was able to kind of hold its own a little bit when it's able to get set up. As long as you get Ultra Ball double Archeops, you can win the game. But
I mean,
unfortunately, when you start lone Pokemon, you have a fistful of energies and a card you have to hit heads on to get a Pokemon. Not looking good.
yeah, that's a little rough, to say the least. It's just kind of you're forcing yourself into a really tight knit position when it comes to any sort of item lock, really, regardless of the deck, whether you're able to play around it depending on your opener or not. Even high percentage openers are great, but playing around it because you opened the nuts isn't going to suddenly solve the problem of, if you open even average, shutting off all of your items for a turn, 2 turns can be detrimental. It can be massively, massively detrimental, and it's going to make a lot of swing, depending on if you're playing Badoo or not, which a lot of decks can be, on just focusing on going second, which creates a much more interesting dynamic, since a lot more decks in the previous format see like Terapagos on the first turn, Miraidon as well, was like all in on like go first, set up, go wide really quickly. And now you introduce a couple cards to the format that swing the pendulum back to like deck building choice and deciding that route when you're building your deck, instead of it's just better to go first.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you get in these scenarios where, the game was very, very fast for the last couple of formats. Obviously, Turbo decks had their times to shine a little bit, post Worlds. We've since found ourselves in like a bit of a pace where, again, these V-Star decks that are just glorified Stage 1 decks set it very fast and get the ball rolling, which is, again, the decks, most games are over in like 4 or 5 turns. That's about what you get. But a deck like Badoo forces you to kind of play a bit of the longer game. So, I'm very much. I think it'll be good for the game. And again, Badoo's not game breaking. There's tons of counterplay to it. There's, again, you're seeing cards like Dusclops become incorporated a lot more. You're seeing fringe cards like specifically in Dragapult. You're seeing cards like Lance get some time in the limelight, which pulls 3 Dragon type Pokemon out of your deck, so that you can get your draw engine established with your Dracloaks. You can also you can Badoo your opponent right back. So that's also a viable strategy when you have to function under item lock. It's just going to force decks to kind of build themselves a little bit differently. Maybe you'll see some decks blind to go second a little bit more. You'll see decks constructed to go second, a little bit more comfortably. I think it'll be fine, And again, Badoo's going to be here for a while. This card's going to continue to stay in standard, while the rest of everything rotates out. But I think while we wait for the rest of some of these other matches to catch up here, we can talk about the rest of the top cut tonight. So we already have Tendes, one of the best players in Brazil, playing Miraidon. He's also playing against Dragapult Dusknoir. That looks like that's going on. We got the Seer 1-1 against, I guess, Seer Dragapult Dusknoir going up against Lugia Archeops. That's 1-1. Curse of easy. Dragapult Dusknoir going up against Lugia V-Star. Wow, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
People are experimenting.
Huntymon got the dub over Blue, who was playing Miraidon. Huntymon is a name I recognize from the Tournament of Doom online tournament.
Played the bridge.
playing the big bridge, which is a
The bridge.
that deck is that's a big old dude. Spring rocking Gardevoir. They are playing a Gardevoir mirror right now. Ugh, yikes. And then we got Brendan and Matias Fung. Matias is playing Gholdengo, which is interesting. Let me look at this list real quick. Okay, so they're playing a list that looks. They're playing a list that's more with Origin Form Palkia instead of the Togekiss variant that we've seen gaining some popularity. Kind of gives you just a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more of an energy efficient attacker. So,
but they're playing one of every energy mixed in two. 3
So-
water, 3 metal, but then one of each. Just one of each type.
yes.
Elaborate.
So, so Gholdengo finally got an A-Spec card that kind of fits it a little bit more. I don't want to say effectively because Gholdengo usually would play Prime Catcher, which is fine. You could play Hyper Aroma, which helps you get your Gholdengos out. But now you play the Energy Search Pro, which reads you can search your deck for any number of basic energy cards of different types. So what this allows you to do is, if you go first, it allows Gholdengo to have a really strong turn 2, being able to swing for like 300 damage, which is not something the deck was able to do very effectively beforehand. So now it gives you just a little bit more pop and also thins 10 cards out of your deck, which is, pretty good, all things considered. So
That's hype. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty sick.
Gholdengo's sick. Listen, the worst part about playing Gholdengo is turn 1.
Yes.
If you can get off the ground turn 1, you're probably chilling. But I believe if you go to the late night stream section, Henry, we can actually click on Gabriel Fernandez's stream, and we can probably watch that as we wait for everyone else to catch up here.
Oh yes, I think.
And yeah, shout out to you guys for us, hanging out with us and sticking with us. We're running things on the fly. We only got a couple of streamers tonight, so we're just waiting for everything to catch up. And let me pull up Gabe's stream on my end.
Gabriel also playing Dragapult here, and has 1,000,000 cards in hand. Holy!
All right, we'll flip this over here, and then we'll do one of these, and then we'll do one of these, and we're back. All right, so yeah, Gabe is playing Miraidon here, which is an interesting card, interesting deck choice right now. I actually think Miraidon might be pretty poised to do well in the Prismatic Evolutions format, especially since everybody's made, you're a deck that doesn't mind blinding to go second anyway. So if you're able to get yourself off the board, you can get yourself off the ground running. You can possibly get yourself in a good spot. But looking at this board state on Gabriel's side, yikes! not looking great.
Yeah, with 8 cards in hand and the access to a area 0 under depths, like you have just so much room for flexibility going on. And then the big ol' Phantom Dive to finish off the Mew and the Pheasantipity all in one go, eliminating all card draw, leaving you with just a Latias. You have the Forest Steel Stone, and Miraidon is a hell of a draw.
Yeah, great top deck there. It's going to allow us to get off the ground here.
Man, some sort of comeback.
Yeah, Tanyuni's going to get a couple of lightning Pokemon out of the deck. We have a Forest Seal Stone in hand as well, so that's going to bode well.
So this works how I think, right? Like I'm pretty sure it does. Like you can tandem unit for another Miraidon and go tandem unit twice.
Correct.
Yes,
that is correct.
Why does it seem like people not do that anymore? Is that just would you?
Well, it really depends. The problem is deck space. Especially now with how this deck plays, you need Miraidon's also decked is a deck that takes advantage of Area 0. You play it with the Pikachu EX to help expand your bench.
Right.
Miraidon is like an okay attacker. but your other lightning attackers are just like much, they're just a little bit easier to splash in. So, and Gabe looks like he's just gonna scoop it up here. He's already down pretty bad. So it looks like that game one ain't gonna work out for him there. But again, sometimes if you have the problem with Miraidon has always been just like having bench space to set yourself up, which is why we play the area 0 now. But sometimes you just have like god awful starting hands, like what it looks like Gabriel had there. So, and he's gonna fix his shoes while we wait.
Yeah. Plus, it seemed on the other side of things for do where did my pairings go? For the Kui here, his opening hand and opening setup was just massively favored. Playing just about the same list as Punchin was. A couple small differences between them, which because like the Kui's playing like a Rotom and some different ratios on the trainer cards. For instance, 2 Lance on the side of Punchin, 3 Lance on the side of the Kui. But a lot of the theory is effectively the same. Like it's kind of a standardized list on a couple ends here of the Dragapult side. Even got the Dragapult sleeves going as the Squawkabilly is the opening start and a Duskull on the side of the Kui. Letting them go first means that they get just to play out their bench, it seems like, and pass the turn.
All right, yeah, we got accomplished a bare minimum. We got down. Ooh, but now we have an interesting prospect here. You dropped. Yep, we're gonna immediately drop the Iron Bundle and proc it. So it's gonna force up the 2 prizer here. You're obviously not gonna want to sack your only Dreepy. So now this opens up different lines of play here for Gabriel. Take a look at who we have access to. The Pikachu's in the deck, so Area 0 is available. You also have your other support Pokemon like like Luminion, as well as Latias, to help give those basic Pokemon free retreat out of the active. So we're going to have to take a gander here at what the right strategy is. But now your line of play is shifted to, okay, I can get my Miraidon. I can squawk away. Miraidon's going to be an easy choice. Then we're going to tandem unit possibly first. No, okay. Just going to grab, okay, we got 2 lightning energy prize, and we prized the secret box. Oh, no.
That's not ideal. 2 lightning energy and secret box. You play 16 lightning energy, but anything to lessen your odds because the one's already in hand. So that means about 13 are in deck. Still, you go for the tandem unit here, choosing for Iron Hands Magnemite, as well as holding onto the Mew as well. So a fair bit of card draw going on here.
Yeah, it looks like we're thinking of debating on which one to put down here. It appears that, looks like it's going to be these guys. Okay, so now we're going to thin out the deck just as much as we can. Get the Raikou out, possibly. Okay, we're going to grab the Raikou.
Yeah, Raikou generator, and then restart first before Squawk and Seizing?
Yeah, I think you're definitely gonna bench Raikou. And I think you restart for 2 just to steal a couple more cards. Okay, we would have hit an energy, so that's good. So now we just need. So now, do we hit the 2? We hit 2. So now we just need to hit. Oh, but now we just have to hit a switch cart to get out of the active here. Oh, okay. No, all right. We got the Arven.
Yeah, turn 2, so Arven can fetch out anything we need, including Ultra Ball and Rescue Board.
Yep, Rescue Board will lower the retreat cost of Squawkabilly by 1 colorless energy, essentially giving it free retreat. So we're going to be able to get those 2 prize cards here. The only problem for next turn here for Gabriel, I guess it's kind of I use the term problem very loosely. You've bench locked yourself, so you can't necessarily access Area 0 right away. You're gonna have to wait for one of your Pokemon to get knocked out. But regardless, you'll take this opening turn Gonna get 2 prize cards at the end of the day to accelerate this prize race.
Considering about which ones to take, they were shuffled up thanks to the Hisuian Heavy Ball, and you pick up another electric generator. That was the other side of this hand. I mean, with the Arven, you're not, and the 4 Sealstone, you don't feel too worried, but there wasn't a lot of energy turbo going on in the hand. Getting an electric generator, allowing yourself to hit multiple is certainly massive. Lance is the supporter coming down as the Dreepy sits in the active. Pheasantipity as well can draw 3 cards if it hasn't already. Dreepy played to the bench. One more.
Those full art lancers are so sick.
They're so cool. He's the champion of 2 regions. He's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT. All right, so let's
aggressive
see.
with the bench though.
That's fine. Yeah. Now we're in a position where again, if we know what Gabe has in his hand, so this takes the thinking out of it a little bit. All they have to do is attach 4 Sealstone and maybe okay, so I think the line of play here is you electric generator. Okay, you most likely electric generator to try to attach the iron hands here. Or no, we could go for the strategy here. I think we go get the Magneton, and then we put some energy into play. Possibly. Yep. Looks like what that line of thinking is.
Yeah, setting up the discharge ability to cycle in some electric energy from the discard pile.
Yep. At the cost of giving your opponent a prize card, which seems fine here.
Yeah, manipulating the prize math already is something that you don't mind doing. Retreating out, though, in order to get the fleet-footed, draw as many cards as possible. Hits a lightning energy. It's a little rough, but not too bad. The attach return is still available, and the electric generator hits nothing.
Woof. Oh, is there no lightning energy? Wait, what? Oh, never mind. I was reading into that. The way that read out was strange. Okay, so we're gonna have to go for the overvolt discharge play here, accelerating 3 lightning energies from the discard onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, but at the cost of giving up a prize card to your opponent.
All 3 going onto the iron hands. So the arm press is available. Tandem unit as well back online. Could potentially bench the Zapdos or get access to the larger bench thanks to the Pikachu EX, which is going to be played and following up suit with the Area 0 Underdepths to expand the bench. Lets you play down that Raikou and use the Nest Ball. Slim down the hand for the restart.
Yep, and also this gives access to the for the Kui. It gives them access to the big bench as well because Dragapult is a Terra Pokemon. So we're still going to go for the Arven here. Going to use Night Stretcher and Force Sealstone. So trying to see what the strategy is here.
Interesting. Playing multiple Force Sealstones, not trying to have them, not trying to lose access if one of them is prized, is respectable. Never trying to play with fire with a card that is so versatile in a like Force Sealstone. Give up your V-Star to add any card from deck to hand.
I'm curious what the line of play here is for Gabriel.
Yeah, I would have thought their Arven or something would have gotten a switch card available. Instead, we're kind of just spinning our wheels. There's
okay,
the
no,
switch.
I okay, I see the image now. Yeah, just in your can out as far as you can, get the Latias into play, restart for 3 cards, and you got the switch card anyway. So,
yeah, burning it as opposed to just going for the free retreat because you're trying to keep the cards in hand as low as possible, so that you can consistently use Mew's restart ability. Then you get to go, because of the attach for turn, you get to amp you very much. Take 2 prize cards. It nails the secret box.
Pretty
Looking
good.
good. Pretty good. Looking good.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. That's my serenade every night. You got the 12:45 a.m. train call.
Alrighty, so the ball's now back in Dragapult's court right now. Let's see what the Kui has in store here. Also, Gholdengo won on the other side. So we're gonna see. So Gholdengo's gonna be going up against Punchin.
Did Punchin also take it?
Punchin was the Dragapult we saw before on stream. So
Yes. And they won. So yes. So other
yeah,
side
so-
is Gholdengo, which is being streamed by PokeDrunks2502, aka Punchin. So got a couple matches going.
all right. So right now we're gonna see what Dragapult does best in these sort of matchups, and this is one of the problems that Miraidon does have in this matchup. Ooh, but the boss sword is off the rip. That's gonna just make it easy to.
Yeah,
That
wins
is-
the game.
That's devious.
Had one in hand already, so it was take out the Iron Hands or lose immediately or provide some sort of hand disruption, which the Kui is playing with the 3 Ionos, but no dice there. Takes the final 2 prize cards on the Dust Skull and brings us to a game 3.
Yep, excellently navigated there. By Gabriel. Just thinning out as much as you can. Playing all your resources in the matter where you can get maximum card draw off of things like restart and Pheasantipity. So able to even things up at 1 game a pop here.
Miraidon, lock it in. Game 3, winner moves on.
Yeah, definitely not a bad call for the tournament. People are, again, anticipated that Miraidon could be back in some capacity. Not that it ever left. I just think that the deck struggle. When things like Dragapults are very popular, that matchup's kind of tough for Miraidon. You play all these like big basic Pokemon that have like around the same HP. So Dragapult can set itself. Dragapult and Regidrago can set up these multi-prize knockout turns. If you're not careful, but I think in a format like this where it's like, hey, I want to go second anyway, so it's going to give you the opportunity to kind of get the first punch in on your opponent.
Yeah, Miraidon's always felt like a deck that lingers because of its innate like build flexibility in some ways. I mean, you're playing a large number of one-ofs by nature, so you can kind of tailor your deck to go first or second with specific tech cards and the plenty of new A specs that allow get in the areas you're under deaths, just laying out the hand. Might go for Mew here. Oh, right, but it's the first turn, so we can go for Squawkabilly instead, which is way more impact for this first turn. Going for the Squawk and Seize does pitch 2 energy, which is a little rough.
Yeah, that's fine because you can get them back with the Magneton anyway, so you don't mind pitching those energies away now. Ooh, wow, jeez. Generator, calm down.
Yeah, early turn. That was what I was gonna lead into. It's like, oh, and if you get a generator that's cutting out you play 16, but you don't know how many are prized. You're already pitching 2, so down to 14. You drew another, so 13, and then hits 2. Like, feels good.
All right, not a bad start there for Gabriel. Now, let us see what's the response going to be the other time for the response on the other side is going to be for the Kui.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty solid start for both sides here. As I was saying earlier with the comparison of lists, the Rotom making an appearance on the side of the Kui. This card just kind of helps you keep things moving, even if you don't have a ton of access to your stun tools, or you're trying to you're forced to play it a little bit slower. Being able to just draw 3 cards at the end of a turn, or you utilize a Budu. It's like you're keeping your engine going and you're keeping your hand full, allowing for all of those options to come to play. The Iono was the supporter card played, allowing for a second Buddy Puffin and choosing to go the Budu route to cut off any and all item cards, which means the Force Seal, which actually doesn't affect this hand at all.
Yeah, done. Tough stuff here. So we're gonna use prop the Forest Seal Stone, can allow us to get that Magneton. Looks like that could potentially be the choice here. We have the rescue board in hand, so we can get the free retreat. And rescue board is usable because that is technically a tool card. So is not affected under the guise of item lock. Now, fun fact: if this is a couple years ago, it would be because tools and items were not distinctively different cards. Tools were just a subsection of item cards, but they changed that going into Scarlet and Violet.
And that makes all the difference, right? Because it lets supporters like Arvin still be powerful in a format where there is a widespread item lock going around, or item lock utility happening. Cards like Arvin, cards like the Four Seal Stone still have so much utility, Pokemon tools in general, allowing for a different axis you can play on. Stadiums as well, like just as you were saying earlier, Kyle, just like a lot more slimming down of the like 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Nest Balls, high counts of like Night Stretcher and stuff. And like, how can we angle the consistency in a way to play around this, which is a deck building problem and not a moment to moment gameplay problem, which are always oh wait, never mind. I thought that was an electric generator for 3, and I was like, what are you? No,
No,
it's Magnuson.
Not today.
Looking good though, in pretty commanding position, all things considered, because you can take 2 prizes on the Budu, and you're already playing so many cards that you're in prime position for any remaining attackers to just instantly come in if the Iron Hands gets taken care of with the swiftness. The only thing you're really missing is the Matias that was shuffled away with the Iono.
All right, we're going to get a free 2 prize cards here. Thanks to Ampy very much. Great job there from Gabriel. And again, now the ball is back in the court of Amkui. Wow, Burrow Price 2 Nest Balls. That's nuts. But I would say that, getting the KO could pose to be a little bit difficult on the Iron Hands. But we do have a Duskull down on the bench. So if we can get that to evolve into a Dusclops, then we can, proc it on the Iron Hands, take 2 prize cards if we can get there. But instead, we're going to opt to get some draw on board with the Recon Directive. I have a big hand already, so I find it hard to imagine that the Kui doesn't have close to almost everything they need here. Yep, okay, there we go. We have the Dusclops, which means that the Curse Blast could be coming here.
Yeah, Curse Blast, Phantom Dive seems like a pretty solid line. Pitching the Collapse Stadium for everything. For the Ultra Ball, playing out cards gets the Pheasantipity, flipping the script. The Rescue Board was also played on that Dreepy. Switching into the Rotom V, doing a whole lot of moving pieces, but all we're going to end up doing is instant charging for the end of the turn. Lots of utility cards, lots of setup, no Dragapult, or rather it seems like because of the Dragapult fetched off of the Lance, no rare candy in order to get the Dreepy in the active to a Dragapult. So forced to kind of play defensive, let your opponent take 2 prize cards, which this Iron Hands is already not well enough equipped to do by itself, but it can instantly go into the existing uh, Raikou and take out whatever knockout you're looking for.
Yeah. Again, I think forcing your opponent to have to play around. This is definitely an interesting choice. Like just going for the straight instant charge in the active here, especially knowing your opponent has the Iron Bundle on the bench. Now, obviously, they're going to probably they're going to send up the Fezandipity, but we do have the boss's orders in hand. So, I mean, if Gabriel wants to just keep the pressure on, which I don't see why not, I think you just boss up a Dracloak and take 2 prize cards. But again, just going to kind of, get the Latias into play to guarantee that you have some wiggle room this next turn. Curious where we're going to put that last bench spot. No. Having a free retreat is actually pretty useful here, and I think we have enough guys possibly benched to where we can net a KO on this Fezandipity with the Raikou at least. We'll find out in a second, I guess.
Yeah, Raikou V does 20 more for every benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent. So it starts at a base 20 plus the 5, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The tandem unit will be 8, so that's another 13.
These do like 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah, it's plenty. The answer is a lot.
The answer is yes. Several.
Yeah, and the Fleet Foot, it lets you draw a card. Because we are going to put the Raichu down, which is another one of those big damage scaling attackers, which is important for Miraidon. As you were mentioning earlier, Kyle, the way that you can kind of stuff out Miraidon is just getting past a certain HP threshold that Miraidon cannot consistently hit, even with the high roll nature of some hands. Secret Box was prized again, by the way. But Raikou lets you do that. Raikou lets you ditch a ton of electric energies that are sure to be scattered around the board and reach those big 300 damage numbers. We are evolving into Dracloak in order to draw 3 cards. The Dragapult is in hand for sure. And there it is.
Wow, who would have thunk?
It just feels like it's a little too late. Didn't get the offense established quick enough and you're already down so far here.
Yeah, being down this. Yeah, he probably should have bossed. Well, he should have bossed Dusclops here because now this opens up some lines of play here. Because I guess we could count. Yeah, if he procs the Dusclops and counter catchers up like one of these 2 prizers, then that opens up the door for a 4 prize turn, which is pretty tough. I think. Okay, so you're gonna proc the damage on the Iron Hands.
Interesting choice. Not in terms of selection, more so in terms of using it now.
I guess maybe you try to piggyback this off of it. What are we doing? Do we have an Iona on hand? There we go. Okay, yeah. Did you only pop that there so to put your opponent on to in a 1-card hand? So
yeah, the Iron Hand's already set up for attack, but the damage numbers are fairly low without a boss's orders to attack some of the weenies on the bench. Psychic Energy onto the Dracloak, and then we're just going for the Jet Headbutt. Not trying to can't take any sort of attacks here. Arven for turn.
Ooh, that's this is tough.
Yeah, you're already so set up. Like, I mean, you're only dealing 260.
I think what your game plan is you rip Generator, and then you just switch into Raikou. So assume you switch into Raichu. Let's Fleetfoot first. All right, so Minion. Yeah, I think you just need to hit 1 energy here. Oh, you hit 2. Okay, yeah, then I think you just got it. Because Dynamic Spark is 60 times. So you're big chillin'.
And then you retreat out into the Raichu. Can deal 540. The retreat is free thanks to Latias, and now you discard everything. Max out. You're winning this turn. Hit the big number. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dynamic Spark.
Lovely stuff. Excellent stuff right there from Gabriel
lovely.
Fernandez. Top player difference for sure. And while we're checking. All right, let's take a look. And all right, so while Gabe takes his last prize card, what do you say we head over and take a look how the other stream match is going, Henry?
Sounds like fun. Bounce on over to game 2 there. Games in top 16 are still going as well, with Christopher Nisi and Dylan Chavo, and Spring just now beating Ryusei Setogawa. He'll go against Huntimon now on the bridge. I think that might be the deck I build next, not gonna lie. I think
Bridge is pretty sick.
Bridge is pretty fun.
It's pretty based, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I'm curious where we are in terms of how we're tied up here. I believe it's Punchin that's up at the moment. So
yeah, according to the late night bracket page, it is 1-0 to Punchin. Game 2 looks like it is just begun. We're in turn 2 or 3, because this is a fairly well set up Dragapult board. And yeah, the Dragapult is going to get the evolution with a fire and psychic energy attached. Rescue board on the Manaphy. We're set up to knock out this Greninja and do some massive damage. In fact, taking a 2-prize turn the unconventional way, as the 70 damage from the Phantom Dive is enough to take out the Gimme Ghoul as well. Or,
all right.
Ooh, a Dust Noir line instead to go after the Palkia.
Oh, bro's got lone Gimme Ghoul on the bench. You just knock that guy out. You're just way behind on the ride right now.
Okay, so yeah. Now, excuse me for being a little bit of your math was a little bit suboptimal.
Sure.
But the Phantom Dive does 70 to any benched Pokemon, which is enough
200.
to take out the. It does 200 and then 70 to you spread 6 damage.
60 to bench. Yeah, 6 damage counters. Yeah.
Okay. My mistake. I thought it was 70, which was enough to take out the Gimme Ghoul.
No, Jet Headbutt's only the first attack, so
yes,
that just does 70 to the active, which would have been fine. But I think by doing it this way, you just completely wipe the board of any again, unless he rips a Palkia Visa off the top here, but he's not even doing close enough damage to knock out this Dragapult. So.
Yeah.
That's the tough part about Gholdengo as a concept. I like this deck a lot. It's a deck that I've played, several times to multiple different tournaments and such, within the last few formats, and it's a really fun deck. But the problem is your turn ones are just so god awful sometimes, and you just do not even get to play the game, which is unfortunate, to say the least.
Yeah, you're utilizing a very good card in Palkia V-Star as just a sort of stopgap, in quote unquote instant offense, something that you can get set up in turn 2 or 3 and feel all right about. But man, oh man, is it if you don't see a Gholdengo early, it's tough.
Yeah.
And that seems like the position that we're currently in here.
All you really need with this deck is 2 Gimme Ghouls and a way to get Gholdengo, and that's it. And then the rest just kind of helps you out here. I do think that the Palkia does alleviate some of those problems a bit. It does give you a very efficient early game attacker, to help you kind of mitigate some of that stress. The problem with Gholdengo is that it's very resource intensive sometimes. So you'll have these, attacking with it early can be kind of difficult, but also dangerous to your resources. But Palkia very efficient, powers itself up. Good for just doing large chunks of damage to kind of make your early game a little bit more even keeled.
Meanwhile, this Manaphy gets to hang out with the rescue board, Dragcloak for all the cards you could ever want, including a Nest Ball off the top, which will bench a Radiant Alakazam, not going for the Pheasantipity for any further card draw. Instead, just playing out the turn, choosing to Dusclops here for more damage onto a Gimmighoul. Kind of sets yourself up for another knockout on one of these Gimmighouls thanks to the Phantom Dive doing 60 to it, or we'll do 20 to that one and then 40 to the next one, as well as 200 on the Palkia V-Star, which is reaching. Wait. Oh, it's going to reach enough knockout because of the Radiant Alakazam. Excellent maneuvering of the damage counters here. Because we're not going to just take out one, we're going to take out two and a 2-prizer, which means we're going to win the game right here, Kyle.
Yeah,
no, we're not. We have 4 prize cards.
Yeah, math, but we're going to be close. We're this is pretty scuffed, as the kids say, Henry. So
this is a tough one. This is tough.
This is a tough spot to be in for sure if you are one Gholdengo player. Oh, but there we go, baby. Look at how handsome he is.
Yeah, get the metal energy on. Coin bonus. Draw 2. We're on the way.
Show me a Pokemon. Show me something.
You need something big here. The downside, as much as a card like the energy retrieval, the hyper energy retrieval is pretty sick. Energy Surge Pro. That is 10 cards in your deck, or rather 8, that you just really don't want to see.
Oh, are we just making it rain for 100? Oh, that is yikes.
And there's exactly the point here. Like, you're just kind of clogging your hand up, unless you're specifically searching out the fire, the darkness, the fighting, the etc. energies. And that's ideally you can turn them into a draw 2 with the Greninja, but that's not always the case. In case in point here, the Greninja's already in the discard pile. It's just it can make your hands feel very clogged, it seems like, which might be what is Matias is kind of struggling with right now.
Yeah, I think it's, again, when your opening is just so poor as it is with this deck sometimes, you just do not get the breathing room to play the game. Again, when you get multiple Gholdengo set up, you have Palkia, you have Pheasantipity, you're drawing, close to like 10 cards a turn. But unfortunately, you just don't have that. When you start as poorly as you do, you just don't have that luxury right now. Now, the good news is you can't lose on this turn of the game. You have just enough HP to be hanging on with your life. But, what's your subsequent turn going to look like? You've been on Matias has been on the back foot for the entirety of this game here, so it ain't looking pretty.
Yeah, I remember seeing, there's, in the discard right now is Fire Dark, multiple water, and fighting. There might not be enough energy in deck unless you really hit some crazy pulls off of this Gholdengo in order to take 2 prizes. In fact, we're kind of playing the safe route here for Punchin. Going with the Dragon Headbutt as the attack to try and make sure that you take out the Gholdengo in one hit and not risk the Dragapult getting blown out by a massive sequence to take 2 prizes and bring us to a surprise game 3. Safe
Yeah,
plays win games.
yeah. I just think that's just a smart play to make there. If you're punching, you don't want to overextend on a turn where you're just not going to win you the game anyway. Just offer up this Dracloak as an offering. We're gonna see the Greninja hit the board here, which leads me to believe there is energy in the hand. Okay, superior energy retrieval gonna hit the deck here. We're gonna get 4 energies out of the discard at the cost of 2 cards from your hand. So now we're gonna see some card draw potentially here with Radiant Greninja, as well as 2 more cards with coin bonus. All right, but here we go. Ooh.
Okay.
And now we're going to strategically stack the deck with Cypher Maniac's code breaking.
Yeah. So knows exactly what he's going to be drawing here. And the coin bonus will get 2 of the stacked 3 cards. 7-card hand, and stacking presumably another superior energy retrieval, pitching out the Pheasantipity, which does not draw you any cards. And in order to fetch 4 more energies, counter catcher to bring in the Dragapult. This is exactly the type of insane hand you really need. Can you pitch 7 energies? You can. Manipulating that turn beautifully. 1 Gholdengo and a Dream with also the right draws thanks to the Night Stretcher. And what a turn of events. Played safe, but Gholdengo and Greninja off of the Night Stretcher getting him to a game number 3. Important as well to note early attacks really mattering in the late game, because that Palkia was able to take enough prize cards to make it a slim margin of victory, but the margin of error was met, and game number 3 is where these two will be going.
Yeah, that was a very gritty win there for Matias. Again, that was not looking like a very comfortable game under any circumstances. You were basically on the back foot, what felt like since your first turn, but able to rebound nicely again. As long as we have access to a singular Gholdengo, it feels like this deck can do anything. If you can get past those, abysmal turn 1 sometimes, just get the bare minimum accomplished, you should be all right. And they're going to get a chance to do so here. I'm just, Gholdengo, obviously a deck that wants to evolve on that second turn of the game. So you're going to, allow yourself to go first here. But again, there is the ever lingering thought of Badoo.
Yeah, Badoo could really hurt a deck like this that plays a slim Pokemon count in favor of a larger trainer count, even with a lot of multiples. But Earthen Vessels, Lost Vacuums, Canceling Colognes, the Nested Ultra Balls, the Night Stretchers, the Energy Retrievals, those are all just shut down by
But we're going to see probably the best case starter here. If you're Punchin, the Klefki with that mischievous lock ability is going to shut off the ability of all basic Pokemon, so we're not going to get any draw from Radiant Greninja here. If that, if Pokemon just has to rear its head.
Starting off with the Palkia V-Star, however, and an Earthen Vessel, pitch out the Lightning Energy in order to fetch presumably 2 water energy, just get stuff ready for Palkia to accelerate onto itself.
Yep, again, just going to thin those energies out of the deck, allow you to get those energies into the hand for further usage later. Seeing if we can get there first, of course. Again, all these turn 1s with Gholdengo really make you kind of sit back and think about where you maybe could have gone a little bit better.
Yeah, the Gholdengo functions like a funnel or like a cone, where you start out real slim.
Oh God.
Things can go really, really bad really, really early. But if you're able to open up a little bit, if you're able to find that Gholdengo, you're able to find that Greninja, find those big deck thinning cards like the Energy Search Pro to cut down a sixth of your deck, suddenly things go open up a little bit. At the very least here, Palkia is big. So, so you've got some time.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in, for sure. Especially again, and this is gonna hurt even more. Item lock is just significantly worse when it's under the guise of just having a bad start. So, you feel for you feel for Matias on the other side here. Now it's gonna give basically full reins of a great start here for Punchin. They're in no pressure to do anything like, they don't have to set up the best this game, if they don't. And now you have this 1-2 punch of like Badu and Klefki just like switching between to just keep griefing your opponent for these next couple turns. It's nuts.
Yeah, I do like going with the Badu here though for Punchin, because you're kind of assuming that a 6-card hand, or 7-card hand rather, is going to be pretty chock full of item cards or supporters, and supporters that then search item cards. So shut those down. There was a Pokestop searched off of Rule the Region, which could be helpful, as well as an attach for turn. No Palkia V-Star. Instead, we're just kind of hanging on by a moment.
Oof, yeah. The Rule of the Region is you never want to click that move.
Never want to see that. Never want to see that.
One simply does not want to do that. It ain't fun.
Yeah, kind of just amassing hand advantage. But we've seen Matias explode in the last game, so playing it slow and taking a long time to set up is an option against Dragapult, because as much as Dragapult can really put the screws on you with that Phantom Dive attack, things can be a little bit slower. I mean, if he's evolving the old-fashioned way, the Dragapult itself maxes out damage at 200, which the Badu has gotten this Palkia into range on, so you will need to put something on your bench this turn or else.
Oh no, not Hydro Breaker.
What? Oh
God.
Oh, we are in our bag. Like, we're desperate.
The fries are in the bag at this point. I think.
No.
Oh no, Hydro Break. Well, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, GG's. Good to see Matias. Congrats on making top 8. But Psychic Energy's in hand. Dragapult's in hand.
Fries are in the bag.
The fries are in the bag. The McDonald's machine is broken. So we're skipping right to the end, going right through the drive-through, because this game is done.
Yep, it is a donk, and again, like I said, Gholdengo. When you get to actually play with the Gholdengos, it's pretty good. However, you see right there in that instance of, it's just not that. It just stinks when you missed that turn 1 Gholdengo, and then you have no card draw on board, and then you get item locked. So excellent stuff right there from Punchin.
Yeah, moving into top 4, where he waits on the winner of Huntimon and Spring, who are in game number 2 for their Huntimon up 1-0 with the bridge. Spring is on the Gardevoir, which is a pretty nice matchup. Gardevoir being weak to the metal, I believe, as the fairy type, but that may not be the case for all of them, because they kind of.
Yes, there's half psychic types are like weak to like steel types, just to like make up for like the lack of a fairy type in the TCG again. So let's send it back to us. We'll put it back to the caster channel. So hang tight, guys.
Yeah, there is a top. I'll wait before we get seen.
Yeah, let's get back to us. Oh, we're back, kind of. Hold on. Window capture, and there we go. We're back. We've returned. Oh, I'm dropping stuff on my desk.
Yeah, no fairy type in the TCG, so it's kind of selective on who's weak to metal, who's weak to dark. Most of the Gardevoir deck is weak to dark, not metal, but still that bridge is really big, hard to take down.
Bring them back, baby. Bring back fairy types. Bring them back. They were so
Back,
cool. I get
bring
it though.
back.
There's too many types of Pokemon, but they'll never do it. It's fine. They hate us.
Yeah,
It's as a
well,
fairy enjoyer.
fairy is already one of the best types in the VGC, so kind of rough to
Remember when
introduce.
Dragon type Pokemon were busted and
I mean, Gen 5 as a whole was like you have your utility mons, and then you had your fighting type and your dragon type. And so, or sometimes both. Like, man, oh man, like Gen 5, like Conkeldurr was crazy, put an assault vest on that thing. Latias was nuts. And then you have a Landorus. Don't let me start.
I can see the war flashback setting in your face right there.
But that's three of our top four all set up with Gabriel Fernandez, Dylan Chavo, Punchin 1804, and then the winner of Huntimon or Spring. That means it is Miraidon up against Dragapult Dust Noir, as well as Punchin's own Dragapult Dust Noir. So a lot of the same deck coming around. But at the very least, it will be at three different ones with the Miraidon, 2 players on Dragapult, and then 1 player, which will either be Bridge or Gardevoir.
Yeah, definitely. Again, proven to be the very effective deck in the meta tonight is the Dragapult, and I get I'm yeah, and I can't say I'm shocked. I think Dragapult Dusknoir has been like pretty good since it's like kind of came a thing like earlier in this year or at the end of last year this season. So I'm not like super shocked to see it performing this well, because I think it turns out that when you're able to lock your opponent out of using their items, it makes setting up things like multiple Dracloaks, multiple Dustnors, just a little bit easier. So
yeah, you see this all the time not all the time, but you see this a couple more often than not. Not even more often. I don't know what phrase am I trying to say here. You have seen this before.
Yeah,
and it's just to keep it real generic. In other card games, other TCGs, like in Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, current format is dominated in the TCG by a deck known as a Ryzeal, which is still really good, but it's on par with a lot of stuff. Like Ryzeal and Malice is doing things, and then there's some rogue options as well, and like the meta's currently in like a pretty stable spot.
Sure.
But in this new set that is releasing, Ryzeal gets a very powerful support card that's not intended to be a support card, or that's not directly within the archetype. It's like a specific rank 4 that reads that you can use it for other Xe summons, despite you not usually being able to do that, and lets you float other Xes from the graveyard. Like, that is something that can be built upon by the card designers and the card releasers. It's like, hey, we have this deck that's being played that's not seeing a ton of like format warping strength, or not seeing a ton of like competitive success, but it is like something we intended, which like we wanted Dragapult to be a prominent attacker. So what if we just release this card that's good in it, but not support for Dragapult? Like, it's not like direct dragon support. It's just this card fits. These cards just fit really well together. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, I just think, and it's not just the only deck that this is splashable in. Badoo's going to go in a lot of stuff.
Yes.
If you're a deck that's like, again, like I think evolution decks can obviously benefit from it. Like decks that on turn 1 going second, your best option was just use like TM evolution. You now have another splashable options, or like decks like Gholdengo. You're seeing this pop up in decks like Ceruledge. Again, another one of those decks that like kind of struggles to ramp up in the early game, but if you can force your opponent to just kind of sit on their hands for a turn, then that gives you the opportunity to kind of open up the floodgates a little bit firmer, a little bit faster. So again, it's
Comes
definitely
together.
something to keep in mind, and to be mindful of. So I think it's just going to fundamentally change how the game's going to be played for a few decks. And decks that play rare candy, I think the turbo decks are going to struggle pretty heavily. Into this just because they're decks that want to hit, they want to hit the ground fast. And you need to burn through your deck with items to do those. So I think those decks are going to be the ones that maybe struggle the hardest here.
Yeah, I guess like it really proves a problem for decks like the Raging Bolt Ogre Pawn, for instance, where like
Yeah.
that's kind of a it was already not a super threat, like, but it was like around and a card like uh, ooh, Badu just can say
Yeah.
no. You don't get to set up. You don't get to play unless you opened crazy.
How about no to your Pokemon catcher, sir?
You're like, no, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll jump into. I think we'll jump into one of these top four matches in a second, but we're just gonna take a quick commercial break, real quick, just kind of recharge and get everyone on the same page here. So hang tight for 2 seconds, guys. We'll be right back with more late night action. And we're back, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed your snack break. Let us catch you all back up on what's going on here. I believe 3 out of our 4 matches are finito. We're still waiting for Huntimon and Spring to finish theirs. So I think in the meantime, we can go check out what Mr. Gabriel Fernandez is doing. What do you say to that, Henry?
It seems pretty good to me because they're still in game number 1. Let's check it out.
Yeah, we're going to boot it up right now. Again, it's Miraidon. And again, hope you all like that other guy. Oh, yeah, Dragapult. That's the guy.
Yeah,
we're so back.
Dragapult, and some Dust Noir. They're going to be all over the place, but currently Gabriel Fernandez is in the driver's seat. Man, oh man, can Iron Hands just get out of control real fast?
Yeah, this guy's a jerk.
Against the stage 2 deck as well, which, I mean, that's probably why Gabriel's playing it, or at least experimenting with it. It's one of the decks that features Iron Hand as one of its main attackers, or at very least one of its main, like, intended, like, win conditions. And if you're just stuck putting out a bunch of 90 health guys to try and facilitate some sort of, like, card draw engine, or utilizing any sort of like basic and stage 1s to lead into a big stage 2, well, boy howdy, are those guys counter catcher bait.
Yeah, it's tough spot to be in for sure. Dragapult's a deck that's like you want to strategically place place damage counters on your opponent. Kind of force them to play around your. You can set up damage strategically on your opponent's board to where you can take 4, sometimes all 6 prize cards in one turn. But the problem is you play these squishy tiny Pokemon that make it really when you're playing against a deck that plays Iron Hands. You're basically just taking free prize cards for the first. Like, look at this, he has Boss on hands, he just wins here. Like,
Nope.
That was insane.
It's a nice meta call, right? Because like even Miraidon is one of those decks that I would consider like pretty item card reliant, with like Buddy Poffins and Nest Balls and Ultra Balls, Counter Catchers, Earthen Vessels, like just a lot of different cards that set up for that you want to like use in rapid sequence as like these big item card plays, like Electric Generator. Yeah. And Secret Box, fetching a ton of them that you can just play out. You're playing 4 Arvins, and in order to fetch out all of these different item cards that you can just use to set up your laundry list of different Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So if you would think like if a bunch of decks are playing like stage 2 decks are empowered by Budu, and these decks are playing 3 copies of the thing to try and stall out some early turns, like I'm not going to be able to get on my high horse and ride.
Yeah, and you even saw like in games where like you would imagine Miraidon would struggle under item lock. When you play a card like the Magneton that allows you to get those energies into play guaranteed without the use of an item card, it just makes that middle part of your game much easier for you to navigate, especially because it means your opponent's left up a do in the active, and that's a free 2 prize cards for Iron Hands. So yeah, I think Miraidon is a deck that Miraidon's one of those decks. It's like Gardevoir, it's like Charizard. Like it's never ever really gonna fall out of style. It's a deck that I just think needs to be refined. Whenever whenever a new set comes out, and I think this is gonna be a good spot for it as we enter the twilight of the Sword and Shield era. As we rapidly approach, well, not rapidly, but I say that, and it's February in like 2 days. So, rotation's coming sooner than you might think. So let's see if Gabe can continue this hot streak here and put your stick in the finals.
Yeah, I guess we're going to be, there's already cards detailing it with like the Area Zero Undergrounds and Arvin and all that stuff, but it's going to be shifting out all of those Sword and Shield cards and fully into the Scarlet Violet exclusive stuff.
And boy, let me tell you, I can't wait. God, the V-Stars are...
They're a lot.
You know when you have a party at your friend's house and like the party was over 3 hours ago, but like your friend just still won't go home. Like,
Yes.
you're already in your pajamas. Like, that's what.
It's like, take the hint, man. I'm tired.
It's like, boy, I sure am tired. Like, come on.
So we're closing up the stream here, guys.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna see it through, unless for some reason Gabriel and Punchin both lose out in the top 4, which would be surprising.
I'd be pretty surprised. They both seem pretty locked in right now.
Yeah.
Which means for the first time ever, we could have a late night where we could actually have both perspectives of each other's hands.
We could see both hands, yo.
Wow, uncharted territory.
I'll watch one player, and you watch the other player.
All right, deal.
Like,
and then we'll meet in the middle for lunch.
yeah, we'll play it out.
All right, so let's see what Gabriel's opening turn is going to look like here. Again, going to go for the free retreat, thanks to that Matias in play. Hyperblower is just going to clear up that bench space, allow you to put down the Squawkabilly, as well as the Rotom. And they're just going to blow up the hand here. Yikes! That's a lot going on there.
Bro is hitting these generators. I was about to make a joke. It's like, oh man, we got to... Like that hand would have, that 7-card draw would have killed in Balatro, but like it's not feeling great here. And then he hits 2 anyway off the generator.
You know, when you think about it, Pokemon's a lot like Balatro, which is a lot like Blackjack, right? Is that how it works? So.
It's close enough. 21's, it's close enough.
I play I play Balatro competitively. You know, it's my favorite. It's my favorite TCG at the moment. So.
Yeah, Blackjack's my favorite CCG. I always keep a deck of cards on me.
Never know. You never know. That being said, though, pretty solid start there for Gabriel. We're going to have to see what the rebound is here on the other side from Dylan.
I mean, with an Iron Hands already set up, because you have the energy in hand for the attached return on the next turn, this needs to be equally as explosive, but with the way that it's Dylan is currently set up. I mean, we don't know the contents of the rest of the 5 cards in hand, but if you're playing down Rotom V with a Forest Seal Stone, it seems like this entire turn is going to be set up for just how do I want to play on turn 5 or turn 4 rather than turn 3, turn 2, excuse me, even numbers.
Yeah, it just kind of makes the rest of your like opening game just a little bit smoother. I think that's the name of the game we've been trying to discuss here. And again, Lance, just such a great card in these opening, in these opening turns as a 1 or 2 of. Just allow you to guarantee to get those dragons out. Looks like we're gonna go up to the Rotom because he can't get Iron Hands. However, we do have the Forest Seal Stone in play still, so we could just Forest Seal Stone for a boss's orders just to kind of accelerate the process here, which is I'm assuming what Gabriel's going to do.
Oh no, he's slamming down the Arven in order to fetch out the secret box.
All right, that also works.
Yeah, so kind of leaving the Iron Hands as it's going to be a threat for every single Dreepy and Dracloak that is played on the board because of boss's orders, and there is no counter catchers, but there's 3 boss's orders that can be searched out at any given time, as well as the Iron Bundle that can throw off some utility. That can have some switch utility going on.
I think if you really want to go on the offensive here, what you can do is you secret box the energies in your hand, and then just grab an Ultra Ball to get the Magneton, pop the Magneton, power up the Miraidon, and then immediately take 2 prizes anyway. So I don't see that as a bad call here for Gabriel. That could be what he's discussing right now. And we still have access to Forest Seal Stone if need be to kind of help you get over the hump of whatever you might be missing, but Okay, notice that we're just... Oh, okay. We're going to attach right there and just instant charge. Okay, so Gabriel not seeing the need to kind of put his foot on the gas here. Instead, just going to draw some cards. Now force Dylan to get this Rotom out of the active, which, again, could pose to be difficult depending on what the rest of the hand looks like.
Yeah, this could be a big turn here for Dylan, right? It's 4 Dreepies on the board could potentially mean over the course of a long turn, 4 Dracloaks on the board, or a couple Dracloaks and a Dragapult.
Oh, the man that sounds in a discard already. Okay, I didn't even realize that.
Pitched off the Squawk and Seas. Oh, that's tough.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, kind of. You're waiting on the Night Stretcher then in order to get it back, which does throw off a lot of the recovery that you could be doing. A Boss's Orders as well in the discard. Oh, that could have been discard off the Ultra Ball as well. Either way, not ideal. Arvin played down after 1 Dracloak.
Yeah, just trying to find that in, but again, the hard part here is that there was no attach for turn on the last turn, so you can't even get the benefit of like a rare candy, sparkling crystal play here, because you still need to dedicate energy to getting this Rotom out of the active, assuming that Dylan doesn't play Switch, which he could be. I think. Okay, or Rescue Board works too. Ooh, but you can't because he just got that tool attached. Darn.
So it has to pitch it immediately off of the Ultra Ball in order to fetch another Dracloak. But this is okay if you're playing a stage 2 deck. Like, you're okay with everything going a little bit slower.
Yeah, no, I think the slow gameplay here is very effective for both sides. So what's going on here?
Yeah.
Let's see the stream. Oh, sorry guys, the screen just went blank for a second. Let me try to fix this. Where'd
on your end or on the stream's end?
No, it's on OBS's end. I think I just okay. We should be good now. Okay. Oh, are we?
Maybe.
Hold on. Okay, we're good. I think I just clicked the window by mistake. We're chilling.
Pheasantipity hits the bench. Not any utility on it, though. No Mons were knocked out on the previous turn.
Yeah, I think just preemptively benching it is fine. I think you're kind of anticipating maybe getting your face punched in this next turn anyway. Instant charge to keep the hand full. Ooh, hitting these generators. Wow, okay. Gets one off the generator again. These generators are going to prove to be maybe a little anemic here, given how much energy is in the hand, but even hitting one there is huge for Gabriel. It's just a single attach. You retreat. The turn is pretty, for the books here. Throw a skateboard on that Squawkabilly, and Photon Blaster, 220 to the active Rotom V. It's going to knock it out, and the first 2 prize cards going to Gabriel here.
Yeah, you're going to give him plenty of card draw. You're expecting some form of retaliation. The areas you're under depths is nice. However, your bench is kind of clogged. No way to tandem unit into the Pikachu if the Pikachu's even in the deck. Either way, a quick little bracket update. Huntimon was able to take a 2-1 over Spring, which means the other side of top 4 is underway with a Punchin over Huntimon, and the winner of this will play the winner of that.
All right. Well, shout out to Bridge. Big fan.
Shout out to Bridge. Big fan.
Big Bridge enjoyer.
Yeah, Duraludon with the Eviolite.
So sick. That bro's got so much defense.
He's hanging on all day. Ooh, double Dragapult.
Yep, guaranteeing that you got the Dragapult set up. So now we got a play we could possibly go for here. We still need energy attachment. Maybe we need energy attachment. Maybe a way to get out of the active Dragapult into a benched one. Radzam's going to come into play. Counter catcher, we could see. Okay, we're gonna see the 3 prize turn here, which could be dangerous, and we're gonna see Crispin come into play again. That's been sneaking its way in as a one of in these Dragapult decks for since this archetype was kind of forming to fruition. It's really one energy from to search for 2 different energy types in your deck. Put one into your hand, accelerate another one to your Pokemon. Quick and efficient way to power up your Dragapult that has these awkward energy costs.
Very, very much so. Energy accelerant supporters have been kind of the name of the game since Terra Pokemon were unveiled, because most of them do require at least some an amount of awkward energy cycling, whether it be a psychic type needing lightning energy or vice versa. The plenty of Terrestellar Pokemon that need like a grass, a metal, and a colorless energy. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
how do I?
How do?
So cards like Crispin, super, super good for stuff like that. As the 2 prize sweep is all that's taken. Dealing instead, spreading the damage onto cards like Iron Hands and onto the Miraidon and the Latias, very nicely spread there to bring all of their HP counts to 200 exactly, so that the Dragapult EX can threaten any Pokemon on the board with just 1 hit, except for the Pikachu, who can survive 1 hit thanks to its Resolute Heart ability.
Yeah, now we do have access to that painful spoons, so we could potentially move some damage counters onto that Pikachu to proc it, make sure that Resolute Heart does not come to fruition. But we can cross that bridge when we get there. Again, setting up the math perfectly for big KOs on either side, especially looking down the barrel of that Squawkabilly potentially. But Squawkabilly should be moving out of the active shortly on his skateboard, so...
Secret Box is the move. We're discarding a lot of energies are already in the discard, so it's going to be hard to set up another attacker that isn't this Iron Hands or Miraidon.
I'm just trying to find the answer here. Again, the deck is already pretty thin here. You're going to get out a couple of lightning energies as well as the Zapdos. You don't really need that card here.
We're really discarding 2 energies here.
It could be a potential play for the Magneton. We could, because we could see a tandem unit here for the Raichu.
This is exactly what we are going to see.
Oh, but we still have to find a way to get. We got one.
He still hits. He
Wow.
never doesn't hit.
We don't miss. that's the region. That's the multiple IC and regional champ difference, folks. Gabriel's one of the brightest minds of Pokemon right now, and I cannot say that I'm shocked that he's performing so well tonight.
So the line here is to prep the bench and just all of these Pokemon that you have available, thanks to now the Area 0 Underdepths, to take out a Dragapult. Then use the Iron Hands to take out one of these Dracloaks, take 2 prizes with it, picks up Night Stretcher Boss's orders.
That's pretty good.
Insane, because now that gives access to that Magneton that's in the discard to fuel up 3 energies guaranteed onto the board, making sure that this Raichu can knock out whatever it wants, and the boss's orders opens up a knockout of your choosing, which is going to be on either this Pheasantipity or this Dragapult EX, to take 2 prize cards in the next turn. If there's no hand disruption, Gabriel has the win locked in.
Yeah, there's no... in order to progress in this game, Dylan's going to have to knock out this Raichu. That's the only thing on the board that'll be able to knock out a Dragapult. So if you can find a way to get there... Okay, we're going to Iono down to 2 here. Dylan's going to go to 4 cards in hand. I don't know how many counter hitters in this deck. I know we saw one played down earlier. Believe there should be 2. I can double check that though.
Pitching the Dusk Noir. The Iono was huge. It cut off all of the options that Gabriel had set himself up for. Luckily, did draw an energy, so we'll be able to still use the Raichu. Just doesn't have the same level of impact that it would in the previous setup. Still, that does mean at the very least the Night Stretcher and another boss's orders is in the deck now, as opposed to being stuck in the prizes.
Of course, you're right. All right, here comes the counter catcher. Okay, no, we're gonna send up the Raikou here.
I mean, Raikou is equally as threatening, but without an energy attached to it, it's going to take 2 turns in order to make sure it's an actual attacker.
Oh, I think, yeah, I mean, Dylan doesn't know that Gabriel has an energy in hand already, so he just has to promote Raichu and then discard all the energy and play, and boom, your dragon's been vanquished.
Yeah, fair enough, right? As we set up yet more Pokemon to break the Focus Sash-like ability of the Pikachu, get the Miraidon down to 200, and tack on some extra damage into the Iron Hands. Man, like, if you're able to hold on to these Dragapults, like, the position to win is there on the next turn for Dylan. It's just a matter of, will he get the chance to? And it looks like the answer to that question is no, as the Electric Generator does get ripped off the top.
Yep, instead we're just going to attach and do 540 damage, overshooting the end mark. Heavy there, but at the right cost. That is going to punch Gabriel Fernandez's ticket into top finals tonight, top 2.
Yeah, Raichu is a tactical nuke, man.
Yeah.
If that this deck can just play. It's like, all right, I'm doing all this attaching, like 4 energies onto the Iron Hands, 3 or 2 onto the Miraidon or the Raikou, like doing all this, like an energy from discard as well to attach 3, and then Raichu comes in and says any mon that you throw out explodes.
All right, what do you say we check out the other stream match going on, Henry?
Yeah. Let's take a look as Gabriel sets on one side of finals and the other side will be decided shortly.
All right, we are now back on the side of Punchin. He's going up against Huntymon and their very powered up Dialga V-Star. Goodness gracious.
Oh, did we do the turn skip?
He did the turn skip. Looks like the V-Star marker has been procced.
Go. Star Chronos.
What an ability. Give that guy a raise.
Yeah, I mean, that can't get much more powerful than do your turn again.
Like, if your turn was so good, they invented turn 2.
Turn 2. There are certain like abilities in any game that can get like power crept as you consistently try and like one up yourself. It's just kind of the nature of competitive games and like competitive game design. But there's some things that you just can't beat. And you know what? Go again. Like it's gonna be it's just as good in Go Fish as it is in Pokemon TCG.
It is pretty sick. All right, that being said, here there's a lot of work to be done here on the part of Punchin. But we're gonna punch into this Dragapult, or excuse me, into this Dialga, and we do have enough to knock out the Dialga. So now we're down to 1 prize card. We're gonna see where the Archaludon struggles the heaviest, and that's in late game. In these late game scenarios here. Again, no possible way to knock out a Dragapult right now. We see 80 damage counters on that bridge, and we do see the Relicanth included in this build of Dragapult, in this build of Archaludon. I'm a big fan of the Relicanth with that Memory Dive ability. Allows you to use the attacks of one of your previously evolved Pokemon. Oh, do we just have it like that? Oh, yeah, we had Boss. See ya.
Yeah, Luminion for boss and the energy to deal 220, take out the Pheasantipity, and that's game. But yeah, I mean, the Relicanth seems like a pretty solid tech. I mean, each of the evolved Pokemon can use its attacks from previous evolutions. That gives you access to the Duraludon's attacks, such as a Raging Hammer, which can one of the biggest things, as you were saying about Archaludon, is it's only really going to be doing that 220 Metal Defender attack, which is solid damage, but doesn't scale. It caps out at that number. Raging Hammer can potentially scale.
Yeah, this is ironically one of those matchups where, as we sit through another Twitch ad. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Can I fix this? Hold on. And good news. Guess who just got Twitch Turbo for free?
Let's go, baby.
There we go. No more commercials for us tonight, guys. We're back.
I am still in commercial land. But as you're saying...
Yeah, so as I was saying, this is actually one of the few matchups where like the Memory Dive ability actually comes in handy. You have 300 HP, so you're not going to be knocked down in one shot by Dragapult. So if the math of the move, if I'm correct, it's 80 plus 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's what two. Oh, these 80 plus. So 80 plus 10 more. So that's what, 280 damage? Is that how it works? Yeah, something like that.
Wouldn't it be for each damage? It's for each damage counter.
Yeah.
Not for. So wouldn't it be 22 damage counters if you deal 220 damage?
I'm talking. So if you have 200, if you have 20 damage counters on you, do 200.
Is it on you? Is it? Oh, wait.
On this Pokemon.
Oh, on this Pokemon. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So if you have, it's 80. Then if you have 10 damage counters on you, that would be 180.
There we go. Math. We figured it out. It's a good attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Against decks that can't one-shot you, that Relicanth is actually a pretty crucial part to the equation. As is Origin Form Dialga V and V-Star.
Yeah, it kind of creates a secondary, quote-unquote, like, way to scale damage, as, like, while the Origin Form, like, Dialga V-Star is going to deal 220, effectively deal 440, because you attack twice. Oh, well, you can't do the V-Star twice, but it is still going to do another 40 plus. So it'll be like 220 at the minimum, like 260, 280, or at 320. Like, it's going to get to some big numbers there. And that's your kind of immediate win condition. Use Archaludon to set up Dialga to then punch massively. But as the games go on, you need something on the back end that's not just, well, I hope Archaludon can get me there.
Yeah.
and Relicanth is a way to do that. And it's a neat axis of a way to do that, as opposed to adding another attacker and muddling your deck building with another Pokemon that you're trying to set up, or a basic that just kind of slots in. It's a basic that all it needs to do is be on the bench, and everything else can function as normal.
Yeah, that's always a fun mechanic that I really appreciate in a Pokemon TCG, when like they'll print cards every like couple of years that like can use the attacks of their previous evolutions. Like Level X used to do that back in the Diamond and Pearl era. Pokemon Break, back during the X and Y era, had a similar ability where your Break Pokemon can use the previous evolutions attacks as well. So I've always been a big fan of whenever they like incorporate those sort of, gives you a little bit more depth to your offensive strategy.
Always here when the offensive strategy gets deeper by just having more options rather than having more intrinsic options rather than strictly trying to bloat out any deck building to gain those options with a different. It's just like a different axis to play on, and I can really appreciate that. As the Archaudon hits the board and strikes back against a massive Dragapult, who took out the Radiant Greninja early.
Yep, kind of a tough spot here for Huntimon. You have a 2-card hand, and granted, you do have a large Pokemon in front of you, so you do have means to kind of give yourself some wiggle room here, assuming that Punchin's only going to be able to punch the Archaudon here, but we're going to draw a couple more cards. Nothing's great here. I guess Nestball to kind of thin out to get another guy down would be good. But so we're just going to grab the Dragapult. Both players' hands are kind of mediocre right now.
Yeah, very slim options. So might as well just keep chipping away at the Dialga. Even going after the Duraludon. Because if you can get that to start chipping away at that early, you can make it so that your next Dragapult can really go crazy, which is why it was grabbed initially. Pitching a Duraludon, or an Archaudon, I mean, is certainly an interesting choice there, choosing not to evolve first and instead let it go to the discard.
Yeah, it could just be like a by the nature thing. I think this deck also plays a couple of Night Stretchers, so you should be able to get that guy back relatively easily. But 2-shotting the Dragapult now. So now both sides kind of some awkward hands here, but we do have the Fez in hand and a Sparkling Crystal and a Dragapult. We literally have everything we need to get an attack off this turn. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the Pheasantipity was already going to, I mean, you drew the other side of that energy for turn. You had the Sparkling Crystal. The reason you got the Dragapult was because you needed some amount of retaliation. And man, he is just getting everything. It's just exactly what you want to see with your engine even partially online. Like, you have a Pheasantipity, you have a Dracloak, you're able just to instantly recover whenever your big Pokemon in that Dragapult goes down. Have enough turns to reset all of those resources, and Sparkling Crystal, 1 energy attached for turn, and the Dragapult ready to go, and an Iono to boot, bringing everyone down to just a normal sized hand instead of completely filled up here. Not the greatest draw though for Punchin.
Yeah, that kind of stinks. You went from hitting the nuts to just going like a little lackluster on those hands, and said, okay, not gonna give them the knockout though to turn on their own Pheasantipity. We're just gonna punch here for 70 damage, bringing the total HP to 270. And we're gonna whiff on the Pokegear too. That is tragic stuff.
Down to 4 cards now. Iron Bundle, a little stuck on an Archaudon, though it can deal some damage. Choosing to instead go through the Iron Bundle. We'll get the choice of what he puts out here, but no matter what happens, this Archaudon will be able to take a knockout.
Yeah, good spot to be in. Again, we're going to attach energy to the Dialga. And just going to go for Metal Defender. 220, take a single prize card. Going to bring Huntimon down to 3. Response now back on the other side here for Punchin.
There's a world where you just Iono this hand.
I think you just rip the Iono. Yeah, it's fine. You're not giving your opponent any extra card draw than what they already have. So there you go. Get the stadium bumped, and not to worry about jamming towers shutting off your Sparkling Crystal.
Oh yeah, that's That's why he couldn't take the knockout the previous turn, because the gem.
Didn't see that one there.
Yeah. A little slow, a little slow. But still, we got plenty of gas now to flip the script. Gets the second Arvin. Rescue board is nice. But this Dragapult is in prime position to deal out tons of damage, even move around some damage counters, passing him over to the other Dragapult, who's only 10 damage away from getting knocked out as part of a Phantom Dive, which will absolutely knock out this Arcaudon on the board. Spreading the damage out. Not quite equally. But we're just pouring it all on that Duraludon and one more onto the Dialga, prepping for the V-Star evolution that could come out from that Dialga V.
Yeah, this is this hand needs to be the nuts from Huntimon if they want a chance to stay in this, but unfortunately a 4-card hand, your board is pretty your board is like okay. I guess that Ultra Ball definitely helps. Gonna get rid of the Iono and the Scoop Up Cyclone, which is a fun ace spec that seems to play in his deck. Allows you to pick up the Pokemon, pick up your a Pokemon, and take all I believe that takes all the cards with you. Also, I'm not sure if that's. I'll have to double check that one, but
Research here needs the V-Star or some way to get it. Another Ultra Ball. Nest Ball's not going to do it. Nest Ball for the Pheasantipity, though, that lets you draw 3 Earthen Vessel for some deck thinning. Everything is kind of centered around getting this V-Star off this turn. I feel like that's kind of all the entire basket full of eggs here for Huntimon. Draw 3.
Yeah, we should hopefully be able to get there. We just need one more energy. Okay, there we go. And there's the V-Star.
And a nice stretcher, too. For the Iron.
Oh, this is smart.
Iron Bundle.
Oh yeah, that's smart because this puts you on. This will put you on even prize cards again, and then on your second turn, you just like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna look for boss's orders. And I think it's funny. I think this ruling works this way because you take the extra turn, and your Pokemon technically was knocked out on was still technically knocked out on your turn before. You do get to use Fez twice, I think, if that's how that is supposed to work.
That's crazy if that's how that goes, instead of just counting as a new turn. But instead we had the Ultra Ball for the Lumineon. Lumineon gets to search for boss's orders. Boss takes any of the little guys down there, and then Metal Blast for 240. And there was just nothing Punchin could do about it.
Yep, tough stuff there for Punchin. But we now have our finals locked up, Henry.
Yeah, 2-0 and a handshake brings the finals down to Huntimon up against Gabriel Fernandez. Nice. Arcaudon, despite all of the Dragapult, we get Arcaudon Miraidon for our finals.
Yeah, let's bring it back to us for a second while we wait for these guys to get set up, and we'll talk about it a bit.
Sure.
All right, it is indeed us once again, folks. Yeah, I can't say I'm super shocked by how well this has gone for how well things have gone for our Calydon tonight. Because this deck did well into Regidrago, which is basically a Dragapult deck. So, it turns out having 300 HP on a stage 1 is kind of nuts.
Yeah, big dude. Big dude takes away all of his weaknesses as well. Not that he could be hit by... Not that he's weak to Dragon, but it makes him, as by design, super, super hard to get rid of. You kind
Yeah.
of saw the.
You don't just get punched into by like Radiant Charizard, like if that HP doesn't matter. Like they actually have to work for the kills on those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
listen, good stuff. It is a fun deck for sure. All right, so while we wait for these guys to get set up, again, we have our finals locked up. It is Gabriel Fernandez going up against Huntymon. So we're going to take one more break before we get into the action here, folks. So hang tight for 2 seconds. Go get your, go refill your water bottles. Use the little cardboard shuffler's room, and then we'll be right back in a second. So hang tight. All right, guys, we're back. Finals is about to get kicking and screaming real soon. Let me just pull up the old. There we go. All right, we're pulling up Gabe's stream right now, and then we'll let's again. They're getting right into it, so let's get head on over there. All right, folks, here we go. Finals of Late Night 238. Gabriel Fernandez, one of the best players on planet Earth. But for the context of this conversation, in Brazil. Going up against Huntymon. Again, someone, if you, I frequent a lot of online tournaments. I know Huntymon's very strong. Here we go. I can't speak for the dynamics of this matchup. I imagine we're going to eventually hit a Raichu angle at some point. And I think going first here is actually pretty smart here for Gabe. It might seem counterintuitive. As Miraidon, you're an aggressive deck that usually, opts well to go second. But in this case, actually not that bad for you going first.
Yeah, and I mean, you're playing a lot of as Huntymon is kind of sitting on just a ton of bigger, beefier Pokemon with like high HP counts. I mean, Dialga is on 220 and 280 for the V-Star, 300 for the Archaudon. Even Duraludon was like a 130 for a basic is pretty good. You're forcing a pretty early commitment to something like a Raichu or a big Raikou or like a Raikou setup pretty early as the angle, which is why we're kind of just sitting on this Iron Hands as a means of like an HP sponge, at least for the moment. So
there is some interesting math things you can do here. Like you could, if Gabe wanted to maybe try to if you get the Zapdos here, and that lightning symbol will increase Ampu very much into a into doing 130. So you'll be able to take the early 2 prize cards here, or you can try to force up the Radiant Greninja. So the routes are there. Let's just see if Gabriel can draw through enough to get it. We have the Latias down. We got 2 generators in hand. We just have to hit all right. Well, we hit 4 energies on that one, so.
Hitting 2, gonna choose to power up the one on the bench. Generator number 2. Yep, hits 2 more.
Brother, what the
Am I
heck?
behind?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm just like, bro, literally hit 4 energies off the rip.
That's the regional champ difference.
Real. Yep, and thanks to that lightning symbol ability from Zapdos, this Amphi very much is going to do 130 damage exactly.
And because the Matias was acquired earlier, means there's a free retreat instantly for the 2 prize taking of this Archaludon. Staying very much ahead of the prize math and looking pretty strong while doing it. Fetching a switch card out doesn't feel too necessary in the position, but could be helpful. Needs an evolution here, and the Ultra Ball will be fetched, pitching another Duraludon and the V-Star Dialga. Not sure if you're going to be able to get the chance to V-Star properly here.
It's gonna be a tough one, especially when you're behind like this already. Like the beneficial part here for Gabriel is that, you know, the Dialga has 220 HP, so like you can attack with Miraidon. It's got a very hittable number. But now we're gonna see Huntingmon try to generate some offense here using that metal alloy, or using that ability of the Archaludon EX. Gonna power itself up, get the attach from hand, and Metal Defender is gonna come down. Let's do a swift 220 damage.
Benching the Dialga as well. Had multiple metal energies in hand. Gonna Night Stretcher, presumably, seemingly another Duraludon. Have to keep them in pretty constant rotation as the boss's orders comes out. Angling to take down one of these Pokemon first that isn't the 230, wants to one-hit KO something, chooses to go for the Miraidon as opposed to the free retreater in Latias, or going for something like a Zapdos to cut down some damage output. Goes right for the engine. Takes it down, yep. Takes 2 prize cards and evens up the game.
Yeah, I guess this is another one of those decks that plays a high supporter count, and so it's like, okay, you know, both these decks are gonna play these squishy sort of. Oh my god, the boss off the top deck is insane. How does he keep doing it? He's so good.
What a rip, man.
That's so sick.
Because he's in a pretty rough spot, right? Like, you can play out some of your hand, like swap out the underdepth for an underdepth, like play a switch card. You could empty out your hand for a Mew angle, but the boss's orders makes you kind of just want to hold on to some cards and line up hold on to the cards that you have until you need them, and then just lock in another 2 prize sweep with the already set up Iron Hands. We are still going to go for said Mew angle, switch card into the Iron Hands because that's absolutely the play, and get some health back to make sure that said existing Iron Hands was no longer in range of the existing Archaludon. Drawing 1 cards rather, up to 3.
Yep, and there we go. We're just gonna take another 2 prize cards here. Again, I think just Gabe was gonna. I think when you already take the first 2 prize cards, you know, I think being able to keep up your pace is huge. So once again, getting 2 prize cards off the riff here. Prize cards are going to be Secret Box, so that's the way to get your last boss's orders, unless there's a hand disruption angle here.
I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky, because like Secret Box is a very powerful card, clearly. But it's been prized a lot of the times. It feels like every time we're looking at a Gabriel game tonight, it's been Secret Box has been prized. But then you're able to get it in the mid game where it becomes like game endingly strong instead of like setup, like complete setup strong. Like, you know what? You got it.
Yeah, that is one of the things I like about the Secret Box, is that it does have that sort of flexibility. Like certain ace spec cards, like outside of like Prime Catcher and like unfair stamp, like only feel really good at certain stages of the game. But Secret Box, like you said, it's got great shelf life. It's really good early in the game to kind of help you get off the ground, but it's really good in the end game too to help you just cherry pick the supporter you need for turn. That being said, though, going to get Iona to the bottom of the deck. Metal Defender for a hot 220 damage. No knockout, though.
Yeah, and kind of just.
Oh, we saw Star Alchemy. Never mind. I forgot about that.
Wow, held on to that forever. Playing that boss's orders off the top, right? Changed the dynamic of the game. Able to take another 2 prize cards early, and despite the pretty substantial setup on the side of Huntimon, who was in a pretty prime position to weather the storm, keeping all of those resources on and those specific 1 cards, like search any card in the deck till you win the game. Like that's good resource management, good acknowledgement of the situation for Gabriel Fernandez, who is 1 game away from winning late night number 238.
Yeah, again, I think that boss off the top deck was huge, just being able to keep pace. So now the pressure's on Huntimon to try to respond here. Let's see if they're going to be able to do so. I'm assuming they're going to opt to go first here, as one does, as the evolving deck should. But at the same time, you do open yourself to Miraidon possibly having a, one of them turns on their second turn going first. This hand leaves a lot to be desired. Thank goodness it's a mulligan. So.
We'll mulligan one more time and still not see. Well, you see what you need to see, basic, because you have a Nest Ball. Nest Ball gets Miraidon. Miraidon gets you everything. Luminion.
Simple. It's ooh. All right. The Luminion start is quite sad. Okay, it looks like they opted to go second again. Interesting choice here from. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because you're just giving Miraidon more time to set up. But I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, a lot of things could go wrong, right for you in the same theory as the previous game, where you're just kind of letting you're trying to sustain yourself over a longer game anyway. So getting crack at second means that you get your supporter cards, and it's a heavy supporter deck to begin with, and you're just gotta hope that, like, hey, Gabriel, don't hit 4 energies off of 2 electric generators, and we're good. Like
Easy clap.
Yeah. Oh, Scoop Up Cyclone being played right off the jump. Scooping up the Luminion so that it can be played later in this turn and get instant access to whatever it ends up searching. You also have a Groudon that you just played down. Won't be able to evolve this turn, but hey, it's going to sit there.
Yep, not a bad play. And there we go. Research off the rip. Again, getting those energies in a discard pile is a huge part of how this deck functions. So by giving yourself the flexibility going second, you open yourself, with the chance to be able to have one of those strong starts with Professor's Research. So good start there for Huntimon, getting everybody set up, getting the board as set up as well as you can here.
Pitching a Dialga and another Archaudon. That Archaudon has hit the discard pile twice now, but there's a reason that he's being so fluid with them. I mean, playing 4 copies of Night Stretcher here is Huntimon. Just always wanting to scoop up from the discard, and then segmentedly after discarding from hand in order to get the basics. Like very much using that discard pile, as you mentioned, as basically as a second hand with things like Archaudon's ability as well.
All right, here we go. Turn 2 here for Gabriel. And the good news is that Zapdos is not prized, so that same strategy from the last game still very much on the table here. And it could be time once again for the secret box to hit the deck here. Looks like we're going to get rid of 2 energies at the very least. And it could be Pheasantipity. It looks like it's going to be the Raichu instead. We're going to be able to grab 1 of every card out of the deck here. And so 1 of every archetype of card. An item, a tool, a stadium, and a supporter. So,
Which then, choosing to go for the rescue board. I mean, if you go for 4 Sealstone, that lets you get 1 of whatever card you want. So the searching power is nearly unmatched. And we are, in fact, going for the 4 Sealstone because it could get you anything, even a rescue board.
could be anything, even a box.
Oh my god.
Even a boat.
It could be a boat as we hit another 2 off the electric generator, which sets us up to take the knockout on... Oh, not quite, actually. Need a way to get the Rotom out of the active, and you know what? That's where that rescue board or the switch cart could come into play. Fetching for Sealstone instead.
Yeah, not a bad call. You do have the Rotom V down and access to your V-Star power still at the very least. And because... Oh, okay. There we go. Gonna get the Latias for the free retreat as well.
Considering his options, knows that the setup has been pretty good on Huntimon's side, but can take a knockout on the existing Duraludon, which would slow down the amount of offense that can be put out because the active Duraludon is the one with the energy attached, making it so that Huntimon would no longer be able to start powering up the Dialga while also attacking. Has to kind of choose between the 2.
Yeah, tough choice for sure. But we have gotten there once again. The Ampu very much for 130 damage, thanks to the assist from that Zapdos. It's going to once again put Gabriel on the board first here, up 2 prizes.
Crazy how much 10 damage can change the math on so much.
Yeah, 10 damage makes a difference between no prizes and 2 prizes. So
Dialga V-Star is loaded in, or Dialga normal is loaded in, a couple energies attached, and then Ionoing for 6, breaking down Gabriel's options down to just 4. Squawkabilly, Luminion, Ultra Ball, under Area 0 under depths. It's a chance to draw 2 cards.
yeah, not a bad array of cards here off the riff. We're going to get the Dialga V-Star. I guess we're just... Ooh. Okay, so that's going to bump the stadium. So we're going to have to get rid of some guys here.
Considering keeping around the Zapdos for things like the Greninja, but this is a tough choice here, especially because the draw off of the Iono was only okay for Gabriel. Kind of running out of juice here since everything is piled onto this Iron Hands, who can not one-shot the Dialga.
Yeah, kind of an awkward spot to be put in here. So if Fez isn't going to get procced, you're kind of in top deck mode right now. 160 from the Metal Blast, which is kind of, again, just going to punch into this guy, kind of make Gabriel sweat a little bit in the middle game here. As not much can be done on this next turn. Except dropping the other Area 0, obviously, that does help things out a bit.
Pitching the Luminion and the Squawkabilly. Not feeling like you need the search compared to of a supporter Pokemon from the Luminion compared to needing the electric generator. especially because you have a restart as well to boot. For Sealstone Nest Ball, Nest Ball can get you no longer a Miraidon. Instead, his options are just Iron Bundle at Raikou and another Iron Hands. The Raikou is the choice. Electric Generator for 2 again.
Off the top rope every time. Insanity.
He just doesn't miss. He's never missed in his whole life.
No, and we still have Star Alchemy to be used here. What do we grab? It's the boss's orders.
Go after the Greninja?
It makes good sense here. Yep, seems to be the choice.
Yep. It's weak to the lightning as well. Not that it matters. Well, no, it actually did matter because it was doing 120 without the Zapdos. And boss's orders from the prize cards as well. Has to be very careful about what is being put onto the bench, though the Lumineon seems to be in the sights of Gabriel Fernandez, as Huntimon needs a big turn here.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's very, very good. Just going for the Metal Blast, taking down the Iron Hands for the first cards, for the first prize cards of the round. That Professor Turo to get the Lumineon back and save it for perhaps a skipped over turn. The opportunities are there, but you have to go through a 280 or 300 health Pokemon on a tall task to be sure, especially since Huntimon has also been keeping his bench rather clear to lower the power of Raikou.
Yeah, I think both parties kind of understand. You know, you don't want to make you're not going to give up any any easy KOs here. You know, this is just the kind of territory we're in now. So, but also you have to be careful because all Huntingmon needs is 2 turns to win. Well, guess what Dialga can do without you having any say in the matter.
Does have a Miraidon in the prize card pool though, which means this Miraidon can fill up the bench a little bit. Only has 1 lightning Pokemon left in deck though, and it is another Iron Hands. The Raichu was discarded significantly earlier.
Yeah, that might come back to cause some problems, but I think we still have plenty of draw left. I think Gabriel's plan is you want to try to stick this Arcaludon in the active. I'm going to look at Huntimon's list. I'm assuming they're playing multiple copies of Professor Turo.
Yeah, I believe they're playing 2?
Yeah, they're playing 2 Turos, so there is the off chance that this Dialga, that this Arcaludon just gets stuck.
Being able to get a Night Stretcher is quite nice.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, we still have, oh, you know what? Okay, I think with attach, we have energy. Yeah, we have enough energy to discard. Oh, yeah, you just proc that guy, and I think you just win here.
Man, what a line.
I think, yeah. Yeah.
Just faster than the Dialga could go off with that Star Chronos ability. 1 energy away from going 220 into another full turn with a Lumineon in hand to get any supporter. Gabriel knew he had to strike, and he struck true, winning him the bracket.
Yeah, that was great stuff. And unfortunately, our cameras are frozen here, so I'll make this close out pretty quick. But that was fun, man. Gabriel, again, proving why he's one of the best in the business for sure. You know, just being able to navigate that line at the end there to see how much energy you needed. And Huntimon kept it close. Again, when you're able to forcefully take turns away from your opponent, it makes Dialga very, very strong. But Henry, that was a lot of fun, my friend. Let the people know where they can find you for future endeavors.
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter or on Blue Sky at UBL267. You can find me there, seeing what I'm doing, what I'm trying to weasel myself into these days, and yeah, seeing my day to day. How about you, Kyle?
You can follow me on uh, Twitter at KoopaNJ. That's where I am located at. So follow me. Again, I'm here every Wednesday. I'm always doing Pokemon stuff, other esports endeavors as well. So if you guys are interested in checking me out, follow us there. And obviously subscribe to the Shuffle Squad for your Pokemon TCG needs. And until then, catch you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.